Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
Fade in.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself. But go f yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
What's the matter? Take yourself a great big bite of meat. Taste the pleasure of the highest quality pork around.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
Well, we're talking about people who have serious sexual orientation and gender identity problems. And I'm not talking, and when I say sexual orientation, I don't mean, a dude who likes a dude and a chick who likes a chick. We're talking about people who think that they're non-binary and they don't know how to play with their holes and shit like that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know how much I love Snorlax? I'm going to prove it to you. These are my slippers, all right? Snorlax slippers. I don't give a crap who knows. I'm a grown man, and I'm rocking Snorlax slippers. I don't give a crap.
But we don't want Revan touched. No.
Agreed.
You don't want anything good touched.
No.
Agreed.
Yeah. Because, Disney Star Wars is a bad touch.
It is a bad touch.
Touches you in the bad place.
It's a bad touch.
Show me on the doll where Disney Star Wars touched you.
I need a bigger doll.
Oh, God.
There's no doll left.
Oh, these two girls, when you kiss, they're going to be hot. Oh, Elizabeth Hurley's going to get butt naked in this.
Like, I want to dive into her deep pool and swim around in her labia.
I dangled for too long there. That wasn't fun.
But I also hate you a little because you go and make it your business to try to make fun or try to get in. Yes, exactly. Half-breed putting her crotch in my face.
I'm still jerking off in front of my console.
Who writes someone that's a genius and that everybody is over there sucking her toes, and then you got to come over here and then say something ridiculous like, hey, victimize me, daddy.
I will twerk on her on the bed. I ain't going to do it in the middle of the dance floor.
That's what I'm... Yeah, whatever.
That's all right.
Why? My brain didn't need that. I'd already seen too many pictures of Shooty Gatwa today.
What?
Well, there's an image in my mind. I'm gonna tell you, if I'm gonna tell you a story and the end result is gonna be me taking a dump on somebody's forehead, do you care about how we got there? My name is a pimp named Dries, and I believe I've misplaced some merchandise at this residence. Lord Jesus and the shepherds, where is daddy's money? I will not hesitate for one solitary second to put hands on somebody if I don't have my monies.
You got to watch it. You got to hit the like button.
We've got to get it up for him, guys. Come on. Everyone who's watching this
Don't
video
say it
needs
like
to
that.
go over
Don't
there,
say it like that.
And share the video. We got to keep going.
Don't they have to get it up for me? Don't say it like that. God damn it.
What? What? What?
We want to enjoy what we're looking at. We don't want sores and fat whores.
Liar!
No.
Let me be as clear as I can. Ain't no colors in Scandinavia.
Game over, man. It's game over.
When I was swarmed by bugs, Dom H, the hero that he is, waded into that maelstrom of claws and jaws and gook and pulled my dead ass out and got me to safety on the ship. Dom H is a patriot and a hero.
Yeah, that was really gay.
Hey, man, you don't know what it's like being in the shit with the bugs everywhere, man. It's terror. It's a nightmare. It's horrible.
Bugs make you gay? Kind of explaining why Bill Gates is pushing so hard for us to eat bugs.
This is why I do crystal meth.
Please, sir, can I have some darkies?
There is nobody of merit there. It's for their new fan base. That's who D23 is for. Everybody who went there knowing they sniff crotch and suck shit.
I want to be a filthy, undisputed first ballot Hall of Fame skank.
It has shown us one thing. The fake fans, the stands, they show up. They showed up for all of these, but they're not an audience.
Nope.
They're a bunch of weirdos hanging out in a parking lot, watching each other do weird shit.
Oh God.
I don't know where I come up with these. They just happen.
Are you out there watching them watch them?
I can hear them from where I am. That's the
Oh.
A lot of squelching.
Yeah. Listen, at least I don't have to clean it up. That's good.
I'm colored. Shut up.
Yeah, you know what? This freaking existed. It exists. That exists.
You just imagined it.
I guess. Kind of hurts. I think it's physical.
Don't try to razzle dazzle me.
There was high top fade Dre. There's been so many over the years. Cornrows, all of them.
Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow, baby. Feeling oh so silky smooth.
And these tool bags wouldn't know quality if it walked up and motorboated them. Because, you're going to motorboat quality.
Wait, what?
Quality boobs. You want to motorboat quality boobs.
There we go. All better now. Man, titties are the greatest things on earth.
Hang on, I'm having technical difficulties with my camera. Something wonky all of a sudden. Give me a second here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the round table where I run a tight ship around here where everything works. Yeah. Well, hey, at least Jed, at least I didn't drip water on my shirt today.
Not this time. Instead, you're getting too happy looking at the anime girls motorboat.
Hey, I'm always happy to look at anime girls. They're wonderful fantasy waifus, is what they are. Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome to the round table. It's episode 150.
Wow.
This time next year, we're hitting 200. Around this time next year. God damn. Have I been at this too long already? Is that a question? Anyway, welcome everybody. Happy to have you here. We hope you're having a wonderful, if not at least somewhat entertaining Saturday afternoon. And we are going to hopefully make that even more entertaining. And I think I've got my camera all fixed. Let's see. Yay, it's working again. Okay, great. All right, yeah. So we hope we're gonna have a fun show for you today. Jed, how you feeling?
Well, I'm happy as always to be here, but I am incredibly disappointed at this current moment because I watched Arcane Season 2's finale last night, and it was horrible. Oh my God,
really?
I'm incredibly disappointed. I love Season 1, one of my favorite new projects from the last few years in television, but they didn't stick the landing. They needed at least like 2 or 3 more seasons to explain the storyline that they rushed to at a breakneck pace. Like it's full on nearly Game of Thrones Season 8 level of rush. And I'm not happy with how it turned out. A lot of weird shit happened. Last minute, they're like, "Oh, by the way, this earth-shattering event happened. Don't worry about it. It's a new scene. We've completely forgotten about it. Or there's only 2 scenes left, so it doesn't matter." And just stuff like that over and over again, introducing random stuff. A whole episode that was one character playing Life is Strange, if you know what that game is, while intercut with another character playing Elden Ring. That was happening simultaneously for an entire episode. And I was just like,
now,
yeah.
I was asking this a minute ago. These are the same people that did both seasons, right?
I believe so. I haven't heard of any major transitions on the team. I believe it's a French studio contracting out to Netflix.
So a bunch of baguettes working with Netflix. That's a great equation right there.
Great equation.
Great equation.
But yeah, we see this so much. As soon as there's one good project out there, some people find their way to sliver in. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a TV equivalent of Sweet Baby Inc. who found out, hey, popular thing that kids like, let's take a hold of it for season 2.
It's called Hollywood in general. Sweet Baby.
Yeah, just Hollywood in general.
Now, I haven't seen it yet because I'm one of the people that's just going to wait till it's all done. I'm hearing everybody's really enjoying Cobra Kai season 6. I am waiting until the final part because, excuse me, if I don't want to watch a bunch of episodes and then stop at a cliffhanger for 3 months. Excuse me. I don't feel like doing that.
Yeah.
You realize they could have had, if they'd gone weekly, you'd be nearing right now the complete end of it, and everybody would probably be jazzed to believe to high heavens. But no, everybody really liked part 2. And now they got to wait till February, I think, for the final couple episodes of Cobra Kai season 6. Whatever.
Something like that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm waiting until it's all done. I watched like the first 3 seasons or 4 seasons, enjoyed it, but I'm not caught up. Far from it.
You got time. You got time. Now, I will say I did catch up and burn through Tulsa King season 2 a week ago. Ooh, that was
nice.
fun. That was fun. And they are about to sign a deal for seasons 3 and 4. So it's going forward. It's good stuff. Sylvester Stallone makes good television too, apparently. Just makes good TV. Good TV. Yeah, see, that's good mafioso stuff. Unlike 91 Days, fuck you, Dermy. Anyway, Dragon Lady, hi. How you doing? God damn it, did I just say that again? Okay, hi. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I've been busy doing Christmas cooking this morning, so yeah.
We're a month away. Your Christmas.
It's a little ways away.
A little early. And it's not even Thanksgiving yet. Well, you don't care about Thanksgiving, I forgot. But
yeah, it's not hanging a minute.
December. Christmas starts as December 1st. December 1st, Santa hat goes on, rock and roll.
That's my rule as well.
We're not there. I mean, starting when we come back after we take a break next week. Hi, Dre. When we come back, Santa hat's on. Every stream, Santa hat is on until we're through Christmas. Dre, when does Christmas start?
December.
Thank you.
Good answer. That is the correct answer. December 1st through New Year's, and if you're lazy, through the end of January, like me.
Well, Christmas stay up like a week or so later into that first week in January. It's because it's not my department to take out. And it's not like a real Christmas tree. It's a nice tiny fake one that we taken out of the box. I don't decorate it. I leave that to people that have it. I like seeing it, but that ain't my cup of tea. That's for people that want to enjoy that. Listen, I love Christmas. Yeah, the Jew loves Christmas. Blah, blah, blah. I love Christmas. It's a happy, wonderful time of year. I love it because you're just supposed to be a little bit better. Just be a little bit nicer. Be a little bit kinder. Don't be such a dick. And I love it. But then again, I'm always a dick to all you.
Yeah.
I don't do it before Halloween. I definitely don't do it before Halloween.
Well, all right. I'll give you a little bit of slack, Dragon Lady. You're not Americans. You don't give a shit about Thanksgiving. So it's not like there's the rule that you have to wait. But if you're in America, you wait until December 1st. I don't care which day. I don't care. Christmas starts December 1st. Doesn't start before Thanksgiving. Or right after Halloween. Just, no.
Now, I want to see if you...
So we've already got Easter eggs on our shelves.
Oh my God!
just it sounds like you just celebrate all the holidays simultaneously year round.
Here's the problem. Here's what I think is going on. UK doesn't have God Emperor Orange Man right now. They got a whole host of problems. So they probably trying to get out all their holidays before they're taken away. Maybe that's what's going on.
Enjoy life as much as possible for what little.
Yes. Although I did read today there is a petition going around for a new elections parliament, and it's got like 1 million signatures already. So good luck with that, our UK brethren and sisters. Good luck with that. Dre, how you feeling? I have a big question for you in a minute, but I'll wait for the first segment.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a week. But I've survived, and I'll take it as a win. This has been a taxing one. It's been a taxing week.
It's been a week. Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, it's been a week. That it has been. But I'm alive. We'll take it.
Listen, but a lot of people weren't alive last night playing Among Us on Ballbusters. All right, when we started in the first, we had multiple rooms because there's something going on with it. When we started, I was the imposter 4 times in a row.
Oh, jeez.
And the first 2 were glorious. I slaughtered, I blamed, I gaslit. Whoever I was with, I ran the table. By the third one, they started realizing that when people start, this is only my 3rd time playing. I am an aggressive imposter. I go out there and I just start ganking. Now, in the beginning, when I'm not tired and haven't been playing for 5 hours almost, I'm measured. I take my time. I'm careful. Towards the end, in total, I was imposter 9 or 10 times last night.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it was nuts. The problem was, though, I was it so many times, everybody was going, yeah, let's just kick him right away. It's him. And it was by the 4th time, they voted me off just on the chance that I wasn't, and I had already killed like 2 people to start that session. Like, yeah, it's Adam, kill him. Like, what? I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? And they voted me off. They're like, oh my God, it is fucking him. Let's make a new room. So, but it was a lot of fun. So there are some highlights where during my personal runs, at one point I ganked somebody. I think I ganked ABF, and I left the room, and I came back as Dermy was finding the body, and I ganked Dermy before he could report the body. So I left them side by side. And then another time, I think it was my 5th or 6th. I think it was my 5th imposter run. At that point, I'm just kill happy. I got sloppy, and they knew it was me. So I just walked into the group, and I killed Derby in front of like 4 people. I just went... And it was actually great because when I took him off the board, he wasn't there to gaslight and sniff out my accomplice in that one. So it actually worked. And then I was like saboteur man, just making sure the situation. It was a lot of fun. And other points, Dom H literally walked by somebody who was his clone and didn't report that something was wrong. Dermy and I were actually accomplices at one point, imposters, and nobody caught on, and we ran the table in less than 5 minutes. Because without Dermy to yell at me and try and throw me under the bus, nobody was really ready to accuse me of anything. And I just kind of sat back, and he was accusing other people, and I just went, okay, maybe it is Cloud. So it's a lot of fun. It is currently unlisted on this channel. By the time we're done here, it'll be live on my gaming channel at Renaissance Art Arcade. So you guys can watch it in its entirety. It's a whole lot of fun. It was our best Among Us yet, I think, because a lot of us who hadn't played before were starting to get the rhythm for it and how to do it. My lies are getting better when I'm sus. They're getting better. I know I'm catching my tells. Anyway, so go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, so we got a fun show for you guys today, I think. We got a good one. Wicked is here. We talked about it last week, what it was going to do. We have our Sunday privilege, our box office privilege, where we are going to check out the numbers or the approximate numbers because they guess what it's going to be on Sunday. And it's mostly right, only off of maybe a couple million here and there. So we're going to talk about that. And then Gladiator 2, we're going to follow up on that like last weekend. Glicked, everybody, glicked. Whatever.
Even I'm cringing at that.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. On top of that, something else. This is kind of a follow-up episode of stuff we talked about last weekend because there's more stuff to talk about. How to Train Your Dragon live action. Last week, we had some stills, which were removed right as I started the stream, but then they dropped the trailer. We're not going to watch a trailer because DreamWorks will claim our butts, but we can look at stills that are fair game. We're going to have a discussion over that. We are going to have a discussion. I have some takes that are probably not. People are going to say, dude, you can't call it this early. I'm going to make a call this early. If I'm wrong, we have another Avatar 2 situation, and I will say I'm sorry, I'm wrong, and also kiss my ass. But then after that, what else have I got here? Make sure I mention everything. We're going to, for the very last time, we will take a nice steamer on Star Wars Outlaws. Because, hey, after this, it really is done. There's nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about unless they stupidly announce more DLC, which that would be great. Ubisoft doesn't have time. And we'll kind of connect that to the larger Ubisoft discussion going into Assassin's Creed Shadows, which their executive says something that makes Dre look like the genius that he is with our previous discussion concerning Veilguard. Okay? So everybody was saying other numbers, and I kept saying the numbers that Dre told me. And now it looks like I was right to trust in Dre. I mean, it feels good. It feels good. I like it. And then we're going to have, if we have enough time, a discussion. As I said last week, I am going to rant and complain about Doom Prophecy. It was as bad as I said it was going to be. And it's even worse because it is a show built on a lie. But the problem is, some people don't like my using the evidence that they're breaking the lore, but they're breaking the Dune expanded lore written by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, because there's a very staunch and rigid section of the Dune fan base that says there's only 6 books or 7 books. Stops at Chapter House. Now, some of them are reasonable and just say, yeah, I don't like it. But then some are yelling at me, along with stands who are yelling at me over the usual shit. I'm racist, I'm misogynist, on this and that. Somebody had the I'll get into it later. We don't want to start that now. We're getting into it later. There's a whole thing. And then I want to break down the fact that when is the line that you cross? When you stop being a fair-minded fan and say, yeah, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to yell at you, and then start becoming a stand. When does that line get crossed? And we're going to talk about that. So for that, hail and howdy to the chat. We hope you're having a good Saturday. Hail the goddess. Here to, I guess, do what he does. Going on down the list. Good afternoon, Kale. How are you? Hail to Ruben X. Huzzah, son of Joxer. Hail, good sir Algram the Strong. How are we doing? Hail, Frank Blazkowicz. Listen. That is wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah, same here. I've been seeing Christmas stuff since around about September, but I think there was one time ages ago I went down. Yeah, there was one time which we went down to a very cheap shop ages ago, and they had Christmas decorations up in August.
That's just wrong.
Yeah, even I was like, wait, hang on a minute.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Even I was even I silently complained about it.
So hail to howdy to everybody. Even if you're not chatting, we're happy to have you here. It's always a busy Sunday afternoon. Hit those like buttons. Sit back, relax. Keep talking in the chat. We love it when you talk in the chat. And let's get forward. Okay, so Wicked is here. Wicked is here. A movie not made for 3 out of 4 of us on the panel.
Yep.
Not made at all. And I have a general distaste for it because the Broadway play is essentially fan fiction to change the actual story to make the Wicked Witch into a hero.
Yeah, this is way beyond sympathetic character. They're not just making her sympathetic. They're making her a hero and completely misunderstood and not a bad person. That's why I have a big problem with the original play as well.
I have a problem
with changes everything about the original film and books.
The fact that it exists is not my problem. The fact that some people are trying to maybe make it real Oz lore, that's a problem for me. That's a problem. And could one say, and we're not going to go too deep into this, and if you like it, that's fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. I'm simply saying, do you think that this franchise, this derivative IP, is patient zero for sympathetic villains that we have now today across all media?
I'm going to argue and say probably not, because we had Magneto prior to Wicked, and that was right about...
No.
I would have thought that Magneto was a sympathetic villain.
No. Fox X-Men's Magneto is not sympathetic.
I wasn't on about Fox Magneto. I was on about comic book Magneto.
Comic book Magneto's not sympathetic. He does horrible.
No, I think what Dragon Lady is trying to get at is like that he's like you understand what his plight is.
Yeah, that's what I was about. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. I know. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
Sorry about that.
No, I knew exactly what you meant. But but as far as sympathetic, it can go. Yeah, I can say that. Now I'm not big on plays, period, because I don't really care. But nonetheless, like the idea of this archetype of a misunderstood villain, I think it can be traced back to the play, which then
that's
of course
what I'm saying. Yeah,
I can.
The trend begins there, I believe.
Yeah,
I think it would depend on when did the play initially come out? Do we know?
20 years ago.
Early 2000s.
It was 2003, because I've got the Broadway cast recording, and I have the Wicked novel, but with the Broadway poster on it.
That's what I'm saying.
The novel is more mature than the play.
It's a lot older than I thought it was. So I think for this type of villain that you're talking about, where it's beyond sympathetic, it's secretly a hero. The villain's secretly a hero. I would say that Wicked would be a good example of at least one of the earliest examples of this trend. Of course, we've had sympathetic villains like Dragon Lady mentioned with Magneto, ones that we can understand and sympathize for, but where they're secretly the hero, there's
no way. Magneto has killed millions of people. He's killed millions of people. He is not. There's no sympathy.
I always thought with Wicked, it was mainly from her point of view rather than she's a hero in disguise. That's what I always thought. But it's been a while since I read the book, so I might read it reread it again.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I understand.
Zeros of that. So, but the movie came out. Now we had some predictions on how it was going to start, and it looks like our indicators of what we're looking at. We look a lot of smart now. But I got to ask this first, Dre. Did your wife drag you to this like she tried to get Barbie?
No, she did not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Praise the High Father. No.
Because that's the only way a lot of men are seeing this if they're dragged to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
brothers are being forced against their will, kicking and screaming. No, not this time. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Because we're going to compare this to Barbie because we have to, because the world wants to compare this to Barbie right now.
Yeah.
They want to. So let's bring it up. Here it is. 114 million. That's not a bad opening weekend. But look at that international. Only 50 million. Now it's a staggered release. It's going to be coming out over the next few days into Thanksgiving. And there might be the holiday bump. That's a legitimate thing in this. The holiday bump this week when people are off, basically probably Wednesday through Sunday. This could get a massive second weekend because there's such a good positive word of mouth about it. Could get a massive second weekend. It only has its budget of $145 million. So add the marketing. Let's say at $400 million, this thing's in profit.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think, like we said either last week or week before, I think this weekend is going to I think this weekend's going to do very well for this film. Just because of the marketing and the play and people that are into it. All the play goers, they're going to flock to go see this film.
So you can get a repeat traffic?
That's the tough part, because like you said, that's one thing I didn't put in consideration last week was the holiday bump. I didn't even think about people going to having days off and actually waiting to go see it. Now that I didn't really think about. Now it depends. Now if this movie is tolerable, then maybe it might actually get a good second week. But if word of mouth spreads that this is hot garbage or a feminist wet dream and blah 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 blah, then I don't think the second weekend is going to be very good. I think the drop off will probably be massive.
Is what I'm hearing at this point. When I listen to people talk about it, all the girls love it.
Oh, wow.
Even the girls in our sphere who are based as hell, they love it. And all the dudes, those who have been dragged to see it, hate it, but say it's a well-made movie.
Yeah, I've been hearing that quite a lot from a lot of people, even guys that have been dragged to the musical itself, not the film, but the stage show.
Guys are going to that musical for a different reason, Dragon Lady.
Yeah, I know. Anyway,
there's a whole different set of rewards for going to see that.
Oh, yes, it is.
South Park.
But but they thought that the play was well acted and well done as well. So that's what I'm hearing with this as well, even though they're not into it, but they give it praise where praise is due as it were.
Yeah, objectivity. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, yeah, Gary Neurotics Out of the Theater review is very much what I predict my reaction would be. He said pretty much what you're saying. Like, yeah, it was well made, well directed, well acted, but it was the ninth circle of hell for me. And that's probably how I would describe it if I had to go.
All right. So, but now I think while this is a solid opening weekend, I think people thought it was going to be a little higher than it is.
It's lower than I would have thought. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it would be over 120, 130, but it's not, because we go to Barbie and its opening weekend was 162.
Yeah. It's massive.
And then it only got bigger. Its drop off was negligible. Now, here's the thing though, as we just mentioned, I think this was very intelligent scheduling for this movie, dropping it the week before Thanksgiving. The positive results of those who are into it, those of the female persuasion who are loving it, that has worked. And everything that had been complained about before in the lead up with the bad press and this and that, that's gone. It's out the window. Nobody's even talking about that. We're only talking about it because we remind you of the timeline. It has not affected anything. Women like it. And now I think the positive vibes from this first weekend are going to generate into a very large Thanksgiving bump. I think the drop off is going to be negligible. I think going into the week, going into Thursday, for Wednesday, Thursday, and I think this thing might be in profit by the end of next weekend. By Monday next week, I think this is in profit. I think it's over 400 million by next weekend. Now, that begs the question, though: will it have this kind of trajectory? That's why I asked. Will the ladies go back to see this over and over again? Will they do the Barbie thing where they're going back in groups and this and that? Are they going to go back because they all want to sing the songs over again? I have heard this thing. Some people are saying, stop singing during the movie. Stop.
So, yeah, they're being told by the theater specifically not to sing. So they're making sing-along showings, specific showings dedicated to people who want to sing along. And I think they are even cost more, or they're at least scheduled differently. So, hey, this is one that everyone has consented to sing along with. So go for it.
Yeah,
sing-along version. Yep, sing-along version.
So it is a musical.
I wonder if they'll karaoke it, like have the subtitles for the music on screen, and everyone tries to.
Surprised. Now, so that could be really great marketing because everybody all went and gone and seen it, and they're gonna go karaoke that shit. They're all gonna go back so they can then sing and dance and frolic in the aisles. Listen. I don't often say this because I would like a girlfriend, but in this moment, if I had a girlfriend, I probably would have been dragged to see this. I probably would have been. And then you could watch me be miserable. You'll like it when I'm miserable.
Yeah. So. I got very lucky. My lady wants to see this film less than I do. So I'm in the clear.
Because Rachel hates all the things you hate too. So
yeah, we're very much in line.
Yeah. So you could say that. So this is Barbie. This is Wicked. I don't want to say it's not going to hit $1 billion, but I need to see how next weekend goes before I really feel like I need to see the trend. I need to see if
there's too early for $1 billion prediction one way or another at this point.
Let's go back right here. It needs an international to get to $1 billion. I mean, it could have a massive domestic box office of 500, 600 million, which is doable. Because let's go back to Barbie. What was Barbie's domestic? 636. I don't think it's going to do Barbie numbers. So we're looking at possibly, I'm putting it out there, we're looking at possibly 400 to 500 domestic for Wicked. I think that's a fair guess based at this point.
Depending on how long they leave it in theater. They've been doing a lot of 30-day releases again, but
I don't think they're not going to do with this because it's a part one. Now, we knew it was a part one way back when we thought it was going to do shit because we didn't understand because we were men. But it's a part one. I think they're going to leave this till almost Christmas in the theater, honestly.
There's nothing to compete with it until Sonic comes out, so there's no reason to pull it.
Yeah, it should go well past Christmas. A good run for this film would probably be 3 months in the theater. That used to be
a legitimate
the
old school run. Then you think?
Yeah, if it gets a 3-month release, I 100% agree with you. It'll get 400 to 500 domestically.
Yeah, but the question is international because we don't have the exact. We only have the zeros. It says 50 million haven't come in yet, but it released already in the UK. So you got that UK.
That's going to be one of the biggest ones.
But it's already there. It's been out there for 2 days already. So, but the rest of the world, and it hasn't released in a lot of big markets yet around the world, or at least in other parts of Europe, this and that.
Well, how well do Broadway plays in general do in non-English speaking countries? I don't know what the interest would be for something like that.
And that's the question. And we asked the question last week. Where is the international interest in this? Because you need 500 to 800 million. You need that 500 million international to get to $1 billion. You're not going to get there without it. And if it doesn't do well internationally, if it doesn't have a massive international, I think it peters out around 700 to 800 million.
I think that's very fair with what we have.
Now that's profit. That's $400 or $500 million profit.
More than enough to justify its part 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which they've already filmed. It's done.
They did back to back. Okay.
Yeah, they did it. They did it all. It's done. It's simply wait however many months between they want to do and drop it. I wouldn't be surprised if they release this as a summer. Depending on how this one ends, I wouldn't be surprised if they start the summer off with Wicked 2.
Now, I want to see the China release poster. Maybe it'll be the one that's
she's green,
accurate to the play. Maybe it'll be accurate to the play with half her face covered.
This thing here's the thing. I don't know how well this will translate to China if they're singing it in Chinese in the movie.
I'd want to watch that version. The version I want to see though is Russian. It just always sounds so angry to me that these songs might be hilarious.
Imagine how it sounds in German.
Yeah, that one too.
It's frightening.
Yeah, I don't know if they're translating everything.
I don't know if these songs are going to translate well. I don't know. I don't know if they've translated them well over the past 20 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, but that is the real question. Will it hold up internationally? Will the international dubs for certain countries, will that carry the same thing? Because that's kind of a thing. This is something like this where whatever you think about Ariana Grande, she is she is a vocalist. She's a singer, and she can sing. I may think she's a despicable human being. You know, I will never forget her licking those donuts, dude. That you don't freaking do that, man. That's disgusting.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, all right. So about 5-6 years ago, she was caught on security camera in a bakery licking donuts and putting them back.
What the hell?
All right, I thought you meant she'd taken donuts and decided to lick the lick the icing off.
No, she took donuts off a rack, licked it, and put it back when she was out with her crew, and security camera caught her doing that. Now that, of course, that's been memory hold by a lot of people at this point who stand for her. But I will never forget that.
All these singers like this are getting memory hold the worst things they've done, especially Cardi B. That woman has done despicable criminal things.
Yeah, Cardi B is a criminal by every measurable metric.
Yeah.
She should be in prison.
Yeah,
these are not good people. These are not good people. No. So now, despite y'all, so go ahead.
But as bad as Ariana Grande might be, her co-star is so much worse in real life. She's just so mad all the time. Well, yeah, she made herself ugly with her shaved head and her cow ring, and then she's just mad all the time, just always scowling. She makes me not want to watch this movie because of her off-screen behavior.
Yeah. So wait. Is she also a philanderer?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
they all do.
Yeah. So the thing is, So
Diddy parties.
Oh
yeah.
Is that what they call the people Diddy parties? The donuts?
Oh no.
Jesus. There are donuts at the Diddy parties. We know. This. There are donuts. But despite what she's a person, she is a performer, and people enjoy her, and she does it. I don't know how you can translate her performance to a dub. I don't know how that stuff really works.
That's a good point.
It's not like an anime where you get a different voice actor or even it's not even necessarily the same person doing the vocals. If there's singing going on, they could easily swap in something. That's what they did in old school Disney movies. In real old school Disney movies, whoever was the voice actor for the character wasn't necessarily the person singing it. If they had a singing role.
Oh yeah, Matthew Broderick can't sing, and you can tell in The Lion King that is not Matthew Broderick singing.
Yeah.
And,
So
what was the other one that just popped up? Oh yeah, Ricky Martin does the Spanish version of Go the Distance and the Hercules. So he does the Spanish dub.
Really?
Hercules is singing. Yeah, he's Hercules. He's Hercules' Spanish voice in the Spanish dub version.
I didn't know Hercules was gay. Ricky Martin plays with donuts. Anyway,
I'd much rather they swap out with real singers for the singing parts than auto-tune it, because Beauty and the Beast is a great example. Emma Watson's auto-tune does not sound great. It would have been better if they brought in a real singer to do those parts for her.
It would have been better if they just brought on a cat being beat to death.
But see, that's why I will always go back to the golden age of Hollywood, where those titans, those gods and goddesses, they could do it all, sing and dance and act. That they were real. And that's why Singing in the Rain is one reason it's such a good movie, because it's about trying to fake it, and you can't, proving you can't really fake it. You can't swap it in when there's physical things there. So I think that might be a problem, not just for the content of the movie, for the fact that it might not be a story that resonates internationally because of the Broadway connection and this and that. But I wonder how, when you have an actual performer like Ariana Grande, her not actually having her performance in the movie will affect the reception in the rest of it. So we'll see how it breaks down. Will we have another Barbie? I don't think so. Even though they want to make Glicked a Barbenheimer thing.
What is Glicked? What is this?
You don't want to know.
Gladiator plus Wicked.
That was my reaction.
That is Dre's soul leaving his body right there.
Now, this is the question: would you rather watch Gladiator or Wicked?
Like the new Gladiator?
The new Gladiator, yeah.
God, man.
Because I don't know how to answer that question either.
I think it depends which one I can fall asleep to first.
Ooh.
Which one's longer?
I can use a good nap.
I think Wicked's longer.
Okay, then I might have to pick Gladiator.
I don't know. Does it have the runtime here? Look up the runtimes.
I think it's 2 hours, I think, last I checked.
Wicked's over 2 hours, and so is Gladiator. They're both over 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a tight race. But anyway, so there is Glicked. They want Glicked to be Barbenheimer. But there's no...
That sounds like something sexual you do behind a trailer park.
All right. Holy shit.
What?
Gladiator 2 is 2.5 hours. Wicked is 2 hours and 40 minutes.
2 hours and 40?
It's in 2 parts, and it's almost 3 hours long for part 1.
Oh my god!
And they're only halfway through the book too, according to the play, from what I've heard.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Cut it off.
They must have added a bunch of shit, and since it's
Actually,
Hollywood,
what I'm hearing is not. I'm hearing they just kind of not so much added, but did stuff that you couldn't see in the play because it's done off camera, like sequences or extended shots, stuff like that. I heard they didn't really add any content. It is kind of beat for beat for the play.
It is Hollywood, so if they did add any new songs, Lin-Manuel What's-His-Bucket probably made the songs.
I hate
he's
that.
the only person in Hollywood who apparently knows how to write songs, according to them.
Lin-Manuel Miranda is a cancer. That man is... Fuck that man.
I despise what he did with Hamilton.
Oh, yes. I hate that guy. Anyway, so there is Gladiator 2. Now, we commented on that last weekend. It had opened early in Europe. In England, and it garnered 82 million international. It's all there was. How much more do you think it made this week now that we had a U.S. release? Now, all right, I'm going to have to go to Dre because Dre wasn't here when I showed it off before. What is that? The lawnmower? Okay, it's gone. Okay, Dre, how much do you think it made domestically?
$60 million.
Wow. I wish I'd bet money on that. No, only 22 million.
Oh God.
My driving instructor, I just asked my driving instructor how he thought about it, because he went to see it last night. So in some places, but not the best thing he's ever actually seen.
So 22 million domestic over 3 days.
Oh no!
Look at this. Well, they don't have. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. They don't. Wait a minute. They don't have the. All right. Let me reload it. Let me refresh it. They don't have. Maybe that was only 22 million. They didn't have it for. They didn't have Saturday, Sunday. My apology. That's not the full. Let's see. Okay, here we go. 55 million.
Okay.
All right, Trey. Here we go.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. I was ready.
Nailed it.
All right. There you go. So that's a little bit better, but not great. Not great by a long shot.
What's the budget on this? 250?
I believe so. Yeah. So yeah, not so great though. These are not stellar numbers. The international only added. About 80 million since last week. This thing, It needs, I believe, 500-600 million to break even.
It's 250, yeah.
250.
All right, so this with the marketing, this thing's like between 500-600 million break even. I don't think it gets a break even. The word of mouth domestically is shit right now.
Yeah, I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that as well.
And Ridley Scott's not helping with the type of stuff he's saying. Like the people who don't like the historical inaccuracies or the nonsense at the end with a ship battle in the Colosseum with sharks in the water. And saying that's bizarre.
What?
That is the final gladiatorial match. Is they have long ships or Roman ships in the Colosseum. The Colosseum is filled with water, and there's sharks in the water. That happened, and he said when people responded, "Hey, that's bizarre. That didn't happen. That's impossible." And he's like, "Well, shut up. If they could do it, they would do it. Were you there? No, you weren't there. So shut up." That's his thing with historical inaccuracy. He always says, "Were you there? No, then shut up. I'm going to do what I want." Not a great response.
Yeah, well, that's why he hasn't had a hit for 20 years.
Ridley Scott makes me so happy and so angry at the same time. He's made some of my favorite movies and some of the movies I hate the most simultaneously. Freaking crazy.
Both in the Alien franchise.
Yeah, Alien franchise. Yeah, a lot of that there. The first Gladiator movie, I love that movie. That's actually my father's favorite film. My father's favorite movie is Gladiator. And which is crazy because he made his business to be as historically accurate as possible, even featuring the Battle of Gaul at the proper time period, which is freaking crazy. He went through all that trouble 20 years ago. They're gonna make a fool of himself now. It's freaking crazy.
Speaking of Alien, Jed, how do you like the announcement of Alien Earth, which takes place 2 years before Alien?
We've known about it for a while, and it's so funny. They said, we're going to release a new teaser, everyone. Aren't you so excited? It's the same teaser they released for Romulus's debut, but they added another CGI second to it. There's literally nothing else added. Like, it was just the globe, the Earth reflected in a xenomorph skull, and then they pulled out a little bit farther, basically, for the new teaser.
That's retarded.
But I don't give a shit about that TV show. Xenomorph should not be on Earth before the first Alien film. I don't know why that's such a controversial thing to say, but at least wait till after Aliens, timeline-wise.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have Xenomorphs on Earth before Aliens.
Yeah, Alien. I'm not saying the movie did it, but it is based on a book. There is the Alien versus Predator book, which had but it was a closed off temple where the predators could earn their shit.
I still hate those. That crossover I don't think works super well, at least on Earth. It could work out in space doing their own thing, but yeah, I don't think there should be Xenomorphs on Earth. Period.
But Gladiator 2, I don't think this thing breaks even. Ridley Scott needs to stop making movies.
Yeah, he needs to retire. It's time, man. When you're making this garbage, and everyone's just confused coming out of the movie. Like, there's some actions that like Denzel takes that are just bizarre, that make no sense whatsoever. He's supposed to be the mastermind villain behind everything. Then there's the controversy with the gay kiss. I don't know if you heard about that, Dre.
I heard about that.
Denzel came out and said he was really excited they did a gay scene for him in Gladiator 2, and they cut it, not sure why. And everyone's like, oh my God, Ridley Scott's homophobic, or he's bent the knee to homophobic people. And then Denzel clarified, oh, when I said I made out with a man, what I meant is I kissed him on the hand. It really wasn't a big deal. You've made it way bigger than it needed to be. So that you made it sound like it was a really big deal that you had to prep for.
But you slobbing some dude down in the Coliseum. What are we doing? What
we're doing is watching basically directors, franchises that have outlived their time, both of them just existing. And now they shouldn't, and I'm not saying Ridley Scott should, die.
Yeah,
he should stop making movies. Nobody asked for Gladiator 2. Even 20 years ago, nobody asked for Gladiator 2.
With how it ended, people love Gladiator partially because of Russell Crowe's performance. Without that, it's not Gladiator.
Yeah,
agreed.
It's just this is probably one of the ultimate examples of creative bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
When a creator himself. It's not as somebody dug up Ridley Scott's content and repurposed it. He did it himself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody told him to do it. He just did it because he felt like it. And it's just pointless. It's pointless.
Absolutely. And yeah, you're right. It's repurposed of the first film script. Dre, the entire plot is the plot from the first movie, but dumber. Like the main gladiator, he loses his family at the beginning, just like Russell Crowe. But instead of it being this heartbreaking coming home, finding the people he was supposed to protect brutally slaughtered, his wife is a soldier and dies in combat in a great big battle.
What?
And so he wants to go on a revenge quest against the general who led the army against him.
But the general's got nothing to do with that. He's following orders.
Yeah, I don't know if the general's the one who physically cleared her. From the clip I saw, it looked like she was killed by archers. So I don't think that would be the general. It might have actually been Pedro Pascal who killed her, but it's still like she died in combat. That doesn't have the same emotional resonance as starting, like being involved in this, not coup, but this plan to change the governmental structure of Rome, coming home, finding your family brutally slaughtered.
Yeah.
There's no comparison, but they want you to think. They want you to think that they're equivalents to lead up to
And
this plot.
isn't the gladiator in this one? Isn't it supposed to be the kid, the nephew of the emperor and the
son?
Yeah, that 10-year-old boy from the first movie or whatever. Yeah, he's this guy that no one's ever heard of.
But wouldn't everybody know who he is because he was the nephew of the emperor?
You'd think so.
Okay, all right, whatever. I don't care anymore. I don't care. And like his mom sends him away.
That's how it picks up. Is he's been gone for 16 years, and something like that. There's two emperors for some reason, and they're both gay twinks. I don't know why. Denzel's just wanting to seize power for himself. And when he has an opportunity to kill the hero, he chooses not to kill someone completely random and is happy about it. It's nonsense. It's utter nonsense.
That sounds like garbage.
And it shows right here. We talked about. Let's go back to Wicked for a second here. The word of mouth, positive, from the people it was made for, from the ladies, the women who loved the play, who loved the book, who loved the songs. They were hyped for this. They have pushed all the previous stories out the window. They went to see the movie. They loved it. It's going to have probably an outstanding second weekend, a holiday weekend. Gladiator 2 this made for dudes, and has been resoundingly rejected. Nothing but negativity. I have not heard a single positive thing about this movie. So you've got Wicked, which will be massively positive, will lead to a explosive holiday weekend. Gladiator 2, nothing but negative. This thing is going to sink fast. There will be no glick. There'll be no glick. This thing will fail. This isn't Barbenheimer, where Barbie was made for the people it was made for, and Oppenheimer became a phenomena that people were just so interested in, also because it's a Christopher Nolan movie, and people are always going to give his movies a chance. This is Ridley Scott. No one's giving him a chance. No one wants to give him a chance anymore. No one wants this story. No one asked for this story. This is what failure looks like. Mm-hmm. And it's funny that these retards tried to make a glick like Barbenheimer. You don't put something that's going to be successful paired with something that's going to fail.
That's fair.
Yeah, Barbie and Oppenheimer were both most likely going to be successes.
Yeah.
Those were not sure things, but you could predict that it was going to do decently well. And I think you highlighted something very important there briefly, is when they make women properties for women, they've been doing a great job with that in the last few years, but they are seeming capable in Hollywood these days of making male movies for men. Yep. It's just every time, if this is a male property and they try to make it for men, it's a disaster. When it's a female property made for women, it does really well and is what the women want it to be. And it's depressing, only more so depressing or less so depressing than seeing all the greats fall. I think Ridley Scott's just one in a long list of classic directors who have lost it all and should have retired 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Steven Spielberg's another example. 2003 was his last good year, in my opinion. Francis Ford Coppola, for those who watch Megalopolis, I don't recommend you subject yourself to that drug-infused coma.
Coppola peaked in the 90s. He peaked in the 90s. Just
he's
stop.
done. And yeah, every other major director, even James Cameron. I know people seem to like Avatar 2. I despise the existence of the first Avatar. Its reception to it, like it's a fine enough pretty movie, but there's no substance to it, so it should not be on the level that it is.
Here's the thing about James Cameron. James Cameron isn't a director; he's a business now. James Cameron is a business. He's about, and whether you like it or not, he's about creating technology. He's about marketing whatever he does. He's not about making cinema anymore. That's not what James Cameron is. And once people understand that, you understand why he keeps making the money he does on these things, because he makes this shit. He knows how to make shit for normies. Just that simple. The man literally has normie nip running through his veins, and he just cuts a finger and sprinkles it on his show or his movie, and people go, "Oh, I'm gonna watch it," and I'm gonna forget all about it 5 minutes later because it really is empty of souls. Yeah, it is. It is. But sorry. So we're talking about movies. We might as well go into this next. We talk about movies. Let's put on our tinfoil Nerdstradamus hats, because there might be a little conspiracy theory nuttery in this right now. Last week we did talk about How to Train Your Dragon live action, and let's remember, I love the original trilogy of Dragon Age. How to Train Your Dragon. Well, I do love the original trilogy, Dragon Age too, but I like How to Train Your Dragon. Those movies are fun. They're always great. I think the first one is fantastic. The second one's good, and the third one is okay. But I still love them. And I like the shows that go in between, even though they're not required reading. They're still fun. Let me tell you, watching the series takes place between movie 2, movie 3, I laughed my ass off because the humor is just stupid and funny. And it feels good to just belly laugh like that shit. I mean, just there's a joke at one point where, because they're living on their own island at that point, training, where they have a chicken, and they named the chicken, and the chicken is like supposed to be part of the group, and the running gag with the chicken, it's hysterical. Made me laugh all the time. But it's fun, it's entertaining, and let's be honest, the How to Train Your Dragon franchise up to this point, no agenda. Yeah, they tried to retcon in some gay later on, but people try to ignore that. Most part, 99% free of agenda. Just fun, safe for your kids. But here we go. Live action. First of all, let's restate, there's no reason for this movie to exist.
Yeah,
God,
clearly.
no.
Clearly.
Well, what year did the first one come out? It's barely a decade and a half old at most.
Late 2000s, first one, I believe. Late 2000s.
Yeah, it's way too early for it, if nothing else.
But so you remake something, first, like Jet said, if it's been a really long time and you're just trying to, like what Disney's been doing. I mean, this is DreamWorks, not Pixar, not Disney. And they're coming late to this live action remake party. That shit's already on the way out. It's been being rejected. Nobody really wants this shit anymore. But it hasn't been a long time. People still like the old stuff. I was reminded on Friday when we were talking about this on Ballbusters, Universal is making an entire How to Train Your Dragon section of the theme park. But it's based on the animated stuff.
Yep.
It's not based on this. Now, all right, let me put the pin in that. I'll come back in a second. So they made this. Now, we got some shots of it last week, right before the trailer came out, which preceded the early release of the trailer. And the trailer worked very hard to show you a lot of the iconic moments that you remember. And we said, if they do a 1-for-1 and just roll through it, I personally don't think it justifies its existence, but it's generally harmless then. It'll make some money in this and that, and it'll be a thing. But then, since the trailer, and again, we're not going to play the trailer because I will get nailed, because apparently DreamWorks does hit you for playing their trailers. They did a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff and a lot of extra footage. And now we see the rest of the Dragon Riders. We already knew that they had a little half-breed playing Astrid. We knew that a year ago. People trying to pretend that it's thing. We commented on it on this very stream a year ago. That might even be the origin. There ain't no Scandinavians. Ain't no colored Scandinavian.
I think that's what it is from.
I think that's exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
I think that's the origin
no
of the
colors in
clip.
Scandinavia.
They have They have made it worse though, because they didn't even try to make her look like she belongs there. Like she's full on got a black hairstyle
Right here.
and
Well, here
everything.
you go. Here we go. I'll bring it right out. The first of these extra shots. Here is live action Astrid.
That one's not so bad. There's other shots with her hair that
you
is
see
very
that.
much.
Now,
that one's fine.
They could have gotten away with this if they just slapped a blonde wig on her.
Oh,
because she is she's light skinned.
Oh yeah, she a light skinned one. Yep.
Yeah.
You're most sure.
They could have gotten away with it, and we wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah,
that's true.
But instead, I believe it's this one right here. No, we'll come back to that. Hold on, wait for that. Right here. Here's the shot. They braided it up, and they got blonde streaks.
Oh, for God's sake!
In it. Now,
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, let me just make sure I'm looking at all the rest of these.
Yeah. They're all horribly cast.
Yeah. Here, let's get the wider shot. There you go.
But they're white folks.
Yeah.
Why is she a half breed? I'm confused.
Oh, it gets even better. You see this one right here?
You're gonna love this.
Now, of course, the character is comically obese.
Of course.
Not Mexican though.
And he's blonde, not dark hair. But Dre, now I don't have the article. Dermy dug it up. I forgot to grab it, but I don't need it because you can go find yourself. Who do you think's playing this Scandinavian fat man, Dre? Just what kind of person is playing that from here? Because
like a race, like a
no,
race?
yeah, it is.
It's also a person.
Yeah, it's one you'll recognize when we tell you who he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You won't be able to tell, but that's not a white dude.
I'm pretty sure he's not Anglo-Saxon. He looks like at best some type of Mexican.
Yeah, well, essentially, yeah. It's the fat kid from Deadpool 2.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the kid from Deadpool 2, man.
Okay, all right. Let me try to meet these psychos halfway. All right, let me just try to meet them halfway. Let's just say you're gonna get a bunch of different races to play. I don't know, Scandinavian people. You take that any way you wish. At least make them look like that. Like give them the wigs, give them whatever features that those folks are supposed to have. They all should have like blonde and red hair.
Blonde hair, dark hair. Some ginger can be in there too.
Yeah,
not prolific, but there is ginger gene out there in the Scandinavia.
I don't think any of these people have accurate hairstyles or hair colors.
Only Hiccup and Snot Glove. He's. I mean, if we go back to this one here, he's the only one that looks right.
He's not as muscular as he should be.
He should be beefy.
He's much more jock-like.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a better Hiccup than Hiccup because Hiccup is way too, I don't know, defined, way too old.
Yeah, and he doesn't look like a skinny wimp.
He doesn't look like he was prematurely born like the Hiccup from the first movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So this entire main team is a miscast.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention right here, we got the twins. They're freaking gingers. They're blonde. And why? Why is she tons of fun?
She is a whale. The whole point is the twins supposed to look a lot alike. And that's why they get a twin-headed dragon. Like, they look very similar. And if one of them's fat, you can't ride the dragon like you see in the movie. The dragon's neck is not going to be able to hold it up with how skinny it was. But I think the only one of these characters who was cast mostly right with the wrong wig, but mostly right, is the male twin. The male twin looks tall, lanky, kind of funky looking, perfect for that role. Everybody else is miscast, in my opinion. Every single one of them.
Right here. Here, I got right here. Let's bring this back up. Here it is. There's the twins.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
This is what they
wait. That girl that looked like she ate the hostess truck is one of the twins?
Yes. Now you see what I'm talking about.
No.
Yep.
Oh, come on.
This is the real one right there. And of course, that's Dragon. That's How to Train Your Dragon 3 look, where they're a lot of years older. But this, I mean, here's another shot. This is what she is skinny.
Jesus Christ.
She didn't, you know.
Yo.
stay at the buffet table for 3 days straight.
Can we show the wide angle of all of them lined up again? I think it's in this tweet that you have. That one. Yeah, you can really see it in this one where
So
you can see
is her
both
brother?
twins.
Is her brother the one right there? Right there? That's your brother.
Put a blonde wing on him. He looks right.
Yeah,
he's
I agree.
he's the only one I would say was accurately cast.
How can you get this so wrong? Well, easy. The director says, "Just shut up." The director basically says, "Just shut up. It'll be okay." Let's read his words.
I haven't seen this response yet. I'm
we
looking forward.
We auditioned many actors for the roles, including actors who looked like their animated counterparts. When
They're
I'm done with this,
admitting they looked at actors who were right for the
tell me
role.
who this sounds like as we finish this. But we chose the actors who best embodied the spirit and personality of the characters, since the tribe in this version is made up of descendants of the finest dragon fighters from everywhere the Vikings had ever traveled, which historically was far and wide. Vikings mixed with many cultures. Yeah, you know how they mixed? They forcefully mixed with those types of people. You know,
and left them behind.
Yeah. Still, we're crafting a fantasy, not historical fact, and all will be revealed in time. We are not making a shot-for-shot remake. So let's throw that little line now out the window. This is not a shot-for-shot remake of the original. They are going to go off script, off the rails of this. It's a classic.
How are you going to say both of those things at the same time? You're going to claim historical accuracy, which is incorrect, by the way.
Yes.
Their historical accuracy is incorrect, meaning, like, oh, the Vikings went and traveled the world far and wide and brought back everybody? No.
Yeah, they were called slaves.
Yeah.
When they brought them back, they were slaves.
Those lands were pillaged and sodomized. There was no, oh, let me come and bring this spawn back with me. No, they laid waste to wherever they were.
The only time they stayed is after the Great Heathen Army in England. That's when they stayed, and that caused that's why there's a lot of Scandinavian ancestry in England, because they stayed and they intermingled.
And that one makes sense because they're right next door. Those are very close to each other. It's not like they immigrated to South Africa and came back.
Now, they traveled as far as Africa.
Or brought back a heavyweight Mexican. That's not how
they
that
traveled
works.
to North Africa. And unlike what these people seem to believe, North Africa is not sub-Saharan. There is a difference. Like Cleopatra, even if she were Egyptian, she wouldn't be black. She'd look much more Middle Eastern, or,
she was also
Egyptian.
Macedonian.
Yeah.
True. She wasn't actually from there to begin with, but if she had been, hypothetically, she wouldn't have looked sub-Saharan.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that always piss me off, because black folks love riding that train. Like, oh, Cleopatra was black. No, she wasn't. That girl looked more like Jed than looked like me. All right. That girl,
she had that olive skin.
Yes. I'm like, yo, she was Greek. She was Greek, for God's sake. Her daddy was Greek. Maybe they did maybe her mom was Nubian or something. Like, look, that white woman was white. All right. The Egyptians in their original bloodline at that point, when the time when Greece was ruling the world, they already had placed their own rulers in Egypt as a capital. They didn't just leave the pharaoh there. That's not how that works. Once you conquer the world, you put your own people in control of these territories. That would be insane for, let's just say, Alexander the Great to go and run roughshod all over the world, then just leave the Africans. What are we talking about? Like that breeds rebellion. Like, what do you? People are stupid.
They are. So they have the nerve. This guy has the nerve to say we're not making a shot-for-shot remake. We just stuck close to key moments to honor the original, which I remain very proud of. The tease features a few of those moments instead of completely new tale. We aim to embellish and deepen without abandoning the story that fans love. So, as I said, the argument that this will be okay because it's basically just remaking shot for shot the first one. That's out the window now. This is entirely a different movie, and I Gobber's going to be gay, guys. They retcon that later on. He's going to be gay.
He's gay. They chose him because his name was Gobber because he gobbles up all those cocks. That's why they made that choice. But he admits it here. The people are saying, well, the teaser looks like it's a shot-for-shot remake, so there might be chance. He straight up admits here, we chose those moments because they were the ones that look like the original animated film. It's manipulative marketing. It's 100% manipulative. So I imagine it's going to be a bait and switch, pull the rug out from under you. Yeah, these are 90% of the moments that are from the original, and it's a completely different story in the end.
This is the truth and the facts. Now, this comes out, I believe, summer 2025. I think that's when. This comes
believe
out.
so.
That sounds right.
Well, how do we think this is going to do? I'll go first. I will go out on the limb first. I think this has a strong opening weekend when it launches, because unless people are paying attention to what we're going to be saying, people are going to see How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, I loved that when I was a kid. My kids love the animated stuff. Let's go see this. And then they're going to go see it and be like, oh my God, what the hell did I just watch? And you know what they're going to go do? They're going to go back and watch the original. And the word of mouth is going to spread, and it's going to tank. That's what I think is going to happen. What do you guys think?
I think that's pretty fair. We are seeing a decline in live action reception from the general audience because, yeah, they're not as in tune to the sphere as we are, but they're starting to pick it up that they realized, hey, we've had 20 live action remakes and they're all soulless cash grabs that suck. So they're starting to pick up on that. So I think it's not going to quite be the levels of a bombastic opening weekend just because it has the brand attached, but I do believe it'll be strong relatively. We don't know what the budget is yet. I just tried to look up the budget for the live action. The only thing reported is $50 million, and there's no way that's the entire budget.
With the CGI it's going to have?
Yeah. And the original animated film, I looked that up, that had a $165 million budget. That's a little insane. I don't know what they were spending money on.
And let's remember, though, as beloved as this franchise is, it's not like it's $1 billion franchise.
Oh,
maybe
God, no.
maybe cumulatively, but the movies weren't out there making monster profits in the theaters.
Well, didn't the third one underperform a little bit? Still broke even, but I thought it underperformed.
Yeah, I don't think it performed that
Interest
highly.
in the franchise was wearing thin. People are way more interested in the park than they are the live action film. And I don't think they're going to feed into each other like people are hoping, like dual marketing. They're going to come out within months of each other, the park and the movie.
Now, I made an argument for this, and then we can go to Dre. I made an argument for this that on Friday, that while this is a healthy IP, it's not exactly a juggernaut franchise anymore. Did you know that between 2021 and 2023, there was another continuing animating series of this? Did you know that?
Right, there was on Disney, Nick?
No, on Hulu.
Okay.
On Hulu, basically descendant of Hiccup and a crew of diverse kids flying on dragons, fighting stuff. Lasted for 52 episodes. And no one knew about it. I only knew about it because I would track when shows were released on a weekly basis, and I would see it on the list of things released. That's the only reason I know about it. But no, not talked about. No, when I mentioned it on Friday, they Ballbusters crew, they thought I was talking about some kiddie show version of it. No, this is an actual full-produced 52-episode multi-season thing that nobody knows happened. That was back in 2023. This is not a franchise that is on the tip of everybody's tongue. They're not sitting on the edge of the seat waiting for more. It has its place in the annals of animation. It's beloved. The first movie is really beloved, and the first movie truly is a great. It's a high nines movie. I have very little criticism over that movie, and those final parts of the movie, I always get all clenched up. And the second one has a lot of great payoff. There's a lot of great stuff in that one, especially because they took a risk and they kill Stoic, and they try to and they have Hiccup and Toothless have a problem with each other for a bit there. And the third one is just okay. We're just going to tie this shit up.
It's there. This franchise took a lot of risks, like you're saying, with killing Stoic, but also having him lose his leg at the end of the first one. This is a kids movie, and they showed real stakes and real consequences to these conflicts that just made it so real and fulfilling that I don't think this live action can pull it off. Live actions these days are always soulless and heartless, that none of us are going to care if that happens at the end. And I kind of think they might make Stoic out to be even more of a bad guy in the live action because you can't have a good dad. I think they're going to go harder. I don't think there's going to be quite the same redemption arc. And if they are, it's going to be very poorly done and just at the last minute, oh yeah, I forgive you for everything. Without
Stoic he's a good dad, and you get even more of that when you watch the series in between the first movie and the second movie. There's a lot of good Stoic in that. I think this is not going to do well. I don't care what anyone. That's why I'm putting it out there now. So I just don't think it's going to do well.
Not in the long run. It might, like you said, have an opening weekend, but we need to go back to the era when remakes were changed so significantly that it was a different property entirely. Like the remakes that I love, Seven Samurai to Magnificent Seven. That's the type of remake we should have.
That's a cultural. I call that a cultural remake. Let's take this. Let's drop it in a different socio-political, cultural setting and tell it from that perspective. And hey, that works. Yeah. So, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think this movie. I agree. I agree with you both. I think the opening weekend is going to be pretty decent. But I'm pretty sure. But I'm predicting a major second weekend drop off. With the idea that people that are going to see this movie were either kids when the animated one came out and really just want to see shot for shot what they saw when they were kids, and they want, maybe if they have children, want to show them that. And I think they're not going to get that, and I don't think they're going to be satisfied on any level. I believe their repeat viewing is going to be either in the toilet or non-existent. And if they're doing what they do with everything, and that's gay it up and crap it up, the word of mouth will be in the toilet. But I think the first weekend going to be really, really big. But I don't see this joint making any real money.
And you brought up a great point. These are people who are now in their mid to late 20s, maybe even early 30s, who have young families. And if they're not paying attention, they're going to think, I'm going to recreate the moment when I saw this.
Yep.
Even though they probably own this. They probably own all of it already on physical or digital. They probably already have it. And they're going to go and they're going to be pissed off. And they're going to say, oh, well, shit. And then the word's going to spread. Just if you already own it, just watch it at home. You'll have more fun. All right. Dragon Lee, you got anything to say about this?
Unless it's... I hope it's not going to be another incident of the Lion King live action remake, which was shot by shot and adding extra bits to it to the point where...
It is. They just said it is right here. He says we're going to embellish. We're going to go deeper. It is going to be that.
Well, it just depends on how they go about it, really. I'd be more concerned about whether or not anyone actually has a proper Scottish accent on this one more than whether or not anyone's got race swapped.
Well, I don't think Scottish accent would be the accurate one to have because they're Scandinavian and a Norwegian accent.
Yeah.
What does that actually sound like? What is a Norwegian accent?
I don't know.
Dragon Lady, you're over there. What do they sound like?
She's got a different
Scottish.
invasion. There's a different invasion going on in their country right now.
That's right. She's got bigger things to worry about.
She's practicing her Middle Eastern accent.
Yeah. All right. We'll check back in a year. I guess we'll know next summer. We'll come back to it and we'll find out. I have a feeling it's one of the times where I am gonna be right that I did not get so far out on the limb that I'm going to have it. I don't think I'm going to have an Avatar 2 situation here. I don't think. All right. Let's take a moment now just to remark one last time, because I don't think we're ever going to talk about it again after this, that Star Wars Outlaws is a complete and total failure.
Yikes.
It finally launched on Steam on Thursday. And this, after several days, is the best they can do.
It's a lot better than it started with. Opening day, I saw some really bad numbers.
800. It's like 800 at peak on that day. Like 860.
On launch, 800 for a AAA game like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, these numbers are horrendous. For the amount of budget, I think they were hoping for 50,000 opening week at least minimum. That would have been the goal.
This game hasn't sold 1 million copies. Okay, It hasn't. We have the leaks, but it's out there. This game is a disaster. Disney Star Wars is a disaster, and this is now the current poster child of what not to do with a great franchise. And they were so stupid. They launched a freaking DLC with it. With Lando. Lando, who between Empire and Jedi should be helping to save Han. Not off of the Sabacc tournament. Unless he's chasing down information. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's retarded. It's terrible. And they all want to keep pretending it's doing great. They have the nerve to also try to sell you for $9 some Boba Fett skin shit for K Broken Nose Vest. So this is a complete failure. Yet they got people like I'll go back to my timing real quick, because one of them on guys like this right here are still trying to tell you that it's rare these days a game has more concurrent Steam players a day after launch. Star Wars Outlaws has more than doubled yesterday's peak.
Yikes.
Are you bragging about these numbers? Yeah, you doubled garbage.
The rage bait sites and channels wrote it off yesterday already as those who cared the most about the game already have played it. So dumb. This is cope. You don't get more cope than this. This is somebody who's trying to pretend that this game is still working and it ever worked. It was a failure. It was always failure. I mean, this was when I made my video on Friday. That's what this screen cap is from. But this is currently where we are now. Let's look at the whole thing here real quick. Let's go for the whole week. Yes, it's gone up. It started at 71. But this is not what you want to see. Like Jed said, from a AAA game, from Ubisoft. They took the stealth mechanic was broken, so they just took it out. Ubisoft, they kind of have a good idea on how to do stealth in games, don't they?
It's what they're famous for. They practically pioneered the mechanics for stealth games. And yeah, their newest game, their stealth is so broken that they had to cut it out. And from watching the people play it, it's a fundamental part of the game. I don't know how they're cutting it out without breaking a ton of missions.
They removed it as a necessity to complete the mission. So now when you get busted, you can just bulldoze your way through shit, I guess.
Okay.
Like, instead of constantly getting caught and having to restart the missions over and over and over again because the stealth mechanics are broken in the game. So it's a complete failure. But so let's take a step back. Okay. This is Ubisoft. They have probably lost several arms and legs because of this game. Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh my.
Is in February. They're trying to pretend it's going to be fine. But there were some conversations had at cons and other things, interviews past week or so. And one of the executives actually goes out and says, AAA games need to sell 10 million copies to break even. Oh, wow. It's almost
Why would he come out and say that?
Well, first of all, yeah, don't let the cat out of the bag, because up until just this moment, a lot of them are saying, we can go back to Veilguard saying, oh, these games just need to make $400 or $500 million to break even.
Nope.
That lie. When just a couple of weeks ago, when we were talking Veilguard, when we asked Dre what it's like to have a game that takes 10 years to make, what's the going on here? And you said 1.5 billion. Well, they didn't make Outlaws for 10 years. They didn't make Shadows for 10 years. We made it for enough years. And when I did the math and said, okay, 13 million to 15 million copies get you that billion. Wow. Dre, you were right.
Numbers don't lie, my friend. Numbers don't lie. It's very simple when you, when I worked in the industry for many years, but nonetheless, it's very simple when it comes to how much money is put into these games to their break-even points. They're on par with how films function now. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. But now, with all the things that go into it, all the amount of people that are involved, the amount of builds that are failed over and over and over again, it costs money every single time, especially when you get to GMC, which is the candidate before you put on a disc. I mean, now they don't do discs as much anymore, but the principle remains the same. The GMC Once that joint does not pass certification from Sony or Microsoft, you have to start it all over again every single time. And that's money, big money, especially for games that are historically broken. For a game that is historically broken that's even put out there, it has gone through so many GMCs to the point that the developers and the studios are like, screw it, we're putting it out there anyway.
Dre, for those on the know, what does that acronym mean?
Oh, sorry. That is so it's that acronym pretty much stands for game mechanic candidate, which means that it's what's going to be put on the disc. It's in-house term that's used that most people won't be familiar with, because it's just about like, hey, this is our last one, because most people are familiar with alpha, beta, but the final one, the GMC candidate, is the one that we're like, hey, this is the one we're going to hard laser onto the disc.
Press those discs. Yeah.
And so that's what we do, and that's what we use it for the candidate. So once that finally passes, that it's good enough, then the studio or the company, whatever, is like, okay, that's good enough. We'll burn that, and then we'll update it in post. Meaning, like when you pop in a disc now, it's a major update that goes through. Yeah. And that's when like all the patches, all the things that they think are to be able to fix it on day one. So looking at just how this game has progressed, and now that it's being paused and then postponed, hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions that joint's going to end up costing, because God knows how many, because it was already in finalization. So God knows how many more GMCs that they have to go through.
It was supposed to be out now. It was supposed to already be out.
Yeah. So it's insane. And to say that $10 million 10 million copies to break even, I believe it.
For AAA games, yeah. And that breaks down to about $800-900 million.
That's right.
That's what you need to make. And when you have games like Outlaws, games like Dragon Age the Veilguard that can't even break 1 million copies.
Yep.
That's the reality right now. But then you have just fun indie games like Starship Trooper Extermination. This is AA.
Yep.
Probably didn't take a ton to make, was in beta for a year. Yep. And it's a night, and there was little localization problems from platform to platform. They with a patch about a week or so ago, they stabilized it for PCs because it works great on console. But even then, I had a little glitch when we loaded it up a week ago where the server wasn't recognizing me, and I could see everything, but no one could quite see. I couldn't see everybody's profiles or ranks or levels or anything, so I couldn't invite anybody to a party. They could invite. So they couldn't even invite me. I wasn't recognized server. But after I played a couple of games, the server recognized me and got in. Now, it looked like that was a PS5 thing because it was fine on Xbox and PC. But that's not really a thing. The game has been pretty clean from launch. And even with the last patch, they cleaned things up for the PC because Dermy, the previous time he tried to play, hated it because you couldn't get the graphics right, performance was terrible, but then they patched it and suddenly it's working, and he is happy to be a citizen. He's happy to be a citizen. If we had been playing Among Us last night, that's what he wanted to play on Saturday. If we were going to do that, like we did last weekend for 5 hours, 14 of us. 14 of us. No,
but that's the benefit of a AA game. That's the benefit of it, because people are going to take a chance on it because you're expecting it to not be, I don't want to say as good, but you're not expecting, it doesn't have as high as a ceiling expectedly. You're expecting it to be like, oh, it's going to be fun, but I'm not expecting the entire world. But when you actually get the entire world, now you're like, oh, snap, this one's great. You tell everybody and their grandmama, and then they all go and buy those games for a fraction of the price of a AAA title.
I spent $50 on this. This was $50, which is old school price from like
that's old school price.
And I'm not playing it as hard as I was when it started, because now that I've been playing with a lot of people, I have more fun playing with the crew. And as I said, when we played on Saturday 2 weeks ago, there were 10 to 12 of us playing at once, and literally in a maximum 16-man squad. So when shit fell, it was our fault because we were literally the entire unit. It was all us, all us being retards.
No one to blame.
But it was wild, a lot of fun, and even though at the moment it's like the same 4 planets, the game does a good job of rotating you in certain points on the planet, so you're not always in the same spot. And the bugs always behave differently. The bugs do not have a uniform behavior.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah, they will always behave differently. And listen, on Friday when we played before Ballbusters, it was a shit show. It was a disaster. Everything, we couldn't get anything right because the bugs were when we did a horde mode. It was crazy wild, but it's still a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you're playing with friends, killing bugs. It's great and it's simple. It's a simple thing, and this is why I call this Helldivers 2 without the controversy, because it's just fun. There's no extra shit. There's no what do we call them? Community managers talking or anything. It's just let's play the game. Here's an update, this and that. But AAAs, let them burn. Burn them down. You got AA. Let the next wave of AAs become the new AAAs.
Agreed.
I mean, because I talked about this on Anime Odyssey, because there's sort of it's a partial story that does kind of wrap into this. You've all heard that Sony has made an offer, a bid to buy Kadokawa, who is a massive studio in Japan for anime and manga, but they also own From Software. They are the parent company of From Software. It's causing a lot of upheaval in the anime manga community because nobody wants Sony to have a monopoly on anime. I don't. Go watch me and Dermy and Brandon, the anime guy, talk about this for Anime Odyssey on Thursday. We talked about this. But I think what Sony really wants is they want From Software. And I'm kind of hoping
they're definitely trying to get a monopoly at this point because Microsoft is buying up everybody's studios, and so they're trying to they're trying to be Godzilla and Kong.
And so what I'm hoping is the fact that we have here is that they really just want From Software, but they can't just buy From Software, so they got to go for the whole thing. Yeah. And I'm kind of hoping, even though they would technically have the monopoly on anime and manga, that maybe they'll just leave Kadokawa Studios alone to do their thing as they always did. We gotta hope that's
just get
like
a piece of the pie. Leave them
that's
alone.
like that's the best of the bad situation. Also, there were rumors that Tencent wanted to buy Kadokawa, so that's why Kadokawa kind of said, "Anybody else want to buy us instead?" Instead of Tencent. Goddamn Tencent. So, but that's just the thing. These AAA companies, they're either getting swallowed up, or they're destroyed, or they're failing like Ubisoft, who will be swallowed up by somebody else when they fail in the next several months. But let them all go. BioWare's done because they're part of EA, and EA somehow will continue to live. They're a goddamn cockroach. But we're heading into this point where the DEI stuff is ending. It's over. It's on the way out. All these games are failing. You got the ones that are tripling, doubling, quadrupling down on all this stuff. They're going to make the burn faster. Let the AAs rise up. They're ready. They're there. They're making a lot of great games. People are happy. People are having a good time. And it might be just in time for the new era of gaming where we get back to just making good games. F all this agenda bullshit. That's what I think that's what it looks like to me is poised to happen. Now, a couple of AAAs might survive. I mean, the likes of Square Enix, who saw what they were doing was wrong and literally turned around and said, we're fixing things, and are slowly fixing things and having results and getting back to where they did well. Other ones like Capcom, Bandai Namco, they're doubling down. They're not backing off. They're going to keep doing it. Any Western company, they're gone. Any Western AAA company, they're lost. The cancer is too deep. The cancer is too deep. You cannot save it because it's the Sweet Baby Inks have spread all over the place, and they're opening the doors to let the more poison come in. So I think that we are poised for a new era. And that's how I think it's going to work out. I don't think I'm too wrong.
No, and you're absolutely right. We're ready for a change, and I think the change is coming. But the fall from grace of AAA games has been so rapid. Just looking at Ubisoft, and I think this is one reason why they had such failed expectations for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Assassin's Creed Valhalla sold, I think the number was 20 million copies, made over $1 billion. It was just a smash success. So they thought, hey, the next thing we're going to do is going to be incredible. They're going to lap it up no matter what we do. And they felt that they had the freedom to make these mistakes, but they did that on too many projects at once with Outlaws, with Shadows. and it's coming back to bite them in the ass because these budgets, I think they're larger than what we're being told about Shadows, especially because they thought, hey, we made $1 billion with Valhalla. The next one's got to make more money, so we'll put more money into it to make it better. And they didn't actually, spend that money making anything better, and it's gonna make it fall harder. And they didn't learn the lesson of Mirage. Mirage taught them a lesson, or should have taught them a lesson, because Dre, that film, that game should have been a DLC. It was about the size of a DLC. It had a normal game's budget. I just looked it up. It made $250 million after 2 years.
Yep. And Jed, I'm mad at you because you just beat me to the punch. I literally just looked up all those numbers as well. And what you're saying is absolutely correct, because I wanted to bring to the forefront, like the point you just made. The idea that this joint still has to sell 10 million copies to break even is insane. That's an absurd amount of money. That's absurd. That means to justify its existence, you got to put 15 million in the can.
And that's lifetime. That's usually what you got for lifetime numbers and something. They need that now.
They need that now.
A lot of games, if they had 10 million lifetime, that's a smash success.
Exactly. They need that the moment it's released. That's what they need.
Not everything is Hogwarts Legacy. It's going to sell 20 million copies because that's a Harry Potter property.
That was unusual.
Not everything's Black Myth Wukong that will catch you out of nowhere as well and seize the moment of zeitgeist of, hey, this is what everybody wanted.
Yep.
Most things sell a few million copies and that's it.
And most games that actually hit usually between 2.5 and 3 million, depending on the budget in the studio, is considered a success. 9 times out of 10, that is considered a success.
Yeah.
Unless it's like certain franchises that cost more and last longer, they might need to be at 5 million. Like for instance, like the oh Jesus Christ, the Arkham series, they have much bigger budgets and things like that. So like when Arkham Knight came out, they needed to sell more to.
Arkham Shadows is not going to make money,
and that's the insane part. The idea that you got to sell 10 million copies to break even is baffling. I don't know. Somebody's head going to roll come February. I don't know who, but somebody's not walking out of this joint unscathed.
Oh, it's the entire. We've said it before. The entire company is going to go under. They're gonna collapse and they're gonna get bought out by somebody.
Yeah, I haven't seen a pushback like this in years.
Yeah.
Maybe the last time I saw this pushback of this magnitude was, dang, what year was that? Dang, it's gonna come to me. But like something of this magnitude to be pushed back 2 whole seasons essentially into another gaming cycle year. That's wild for a AAA title. That's ludicrous. That was at GMC is nonsense. I don't know how anybody keeps their jobs. I have no clue. None.
Man, let it die. Let it die.
We have another big failure on the horizon. Anyone think Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is gonna break even?
Be such a listen. I was down on that game the minute I saw the trailer, and they made an FPS essentially.
Well, that's the problem. They're getting in trouble for calling an FPS. Actually, IGN they played the game for a couple hours. IGN liked the game, obviously, but said it cannot be called an FPS. They fired their gun twice. They said in the 2 hours they played.
Yeah,
it's a stealth game almost. And the director said, "Yeah, we wanted to really punish the player for using the gun and make them avoid guns entirely."
I remember that.
Indiana Jones is against guns. He would never do it. It's against the character.
Oh, it's not like they allowed Harrison Ford to basically make a whole scene himself because he wasn't feeling well to just pull the gun and shoot the guy with the sword. He ad-libbed that whole thing.
Yep.
And that's one of the most iconic scenes in modern cinema.
I've seen a lot from that game.
Oh, you know what? Hang on. Let me see if I have it here. I might have it loaded up here.
But from what I saw a report that its sales are below Outlaw. Its predicted pre-sales are below Outlaws and Veilguard.
Yeah, it's
I don't know what its
be
budget's going to be, but it's going to fail worse. I think
it's going to be rough. Like for folks that are fans of the Indiana Jones franchise, This might be a tough pill.
I have a clip. Just to remind you that Indiana Jones doesn't like to use guns.
And who's gonna come to save you, Junior? I told you! Don't call me Junior.
Yeah, he doesn't like these guns.
Yeah, he doesn't like guns.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, don't like guns. So that game's gonna fail. I knew it was gonna fail the minute the minute you didn't see you being Indiana Jones. I knew that it's like, how can you have an Indiana Jones game and all you see are his hands? How?
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, and rumor has it that he's led around by another Whammons the entire game.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is
even
a
the point
female
of the game?
protagonist.
What are you going to be doing in this game? Because it's an FPS game where you're not allowed to use guns. They don't have the stealth mechanic, so it's not like you're going to be stabbing people. Are you just going to be whipping around people's guns away, and then they like, oh no, I've been disarmed, and then like walk away slowly? Is it going to be puzzle focused? Maybe that's the only thing I can think of.
It's gonna be puzzle heavy. It will be puzzle heavy. But as far as the action sequences are concerned, it's, to say the least, complicated, to say the least. So there is a stealth mechanic, but the stealth mechanic only comes in if you're crouched and you have a blunt weapon in your hand. So if you have a nightstick and you crouch behind, you'll have a moment for an instant KO. That's about it. There's no like creeping up in sleeper hold or something like that. It's gonna be something else.
This is why the only game that I'm kind of looking forward to is the Quiet Place one. That one looks interesting with the new mechanics that they're doing. I don't know if there's anything behind the scenes, but playing that with a microphone on would be pretty intense. There are people still trying with these AAA games, because I think that would still count as a AAA game, but 90% of them are just
Did they take
sad.
the mechanics from Isolation? I think was that what they were trying to do with the Quiet Place one. I didn't really hear too much about it. Like from Alien Isolation, take that.
So
same
yeah, it's similar in the aspect that it's first person. You're trying to go very stealthy, very slow, and it's not like stealth assassinations or anything. I think Isolation would be a good comparison, but there's a lot more hazards around you, so you have to watch every step. And there's a gameplay mode where it connects to your microphone, and you have to be quiet. If you make a noise in real life, the monster's gonna find you. You can turn that off, obviously, but I think that's a cool aspect of the game, considering what franchise
That's
it's part
a good
of.
gameplay evolution.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a very slow-paced story, obviously.
Yeah.
Very slow-paced.
I mean, here's the thing. My trip, honestly, the bulk of my next games I'm buying are they are from AAAs, but they're either remasters or it's. I'll say right now, call me a Square Enix fanboy. I don't. I got a lot of Square Enix games coming my way in the next few months because of holiday, a small stockpile, but they all look like really good games. Like Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven. Everybody's talking well about that one. I'm looking forward to that. Dragon Quest 3 2D HD. Despite everybody bitching and moaning, it's being received very well. People are enjoying it. I'm looking forward to that. I got Legends of Man. I got a Visions of Mana coming my way. Even though the studio crapped out itself, it is tangentially Square Enix, but their subsidiary, that one closed for some reason. But everybody loved that game. I'm getting that. And Square Enix has another game coming out. It hasn't come out yet. That has a lot of people, old school guys, they brought back to work on it. I mean, let me bring it up. I'll read you what it is real quick. It's called. Move faster, Adam. You're live. It's called Fantasian Neo Dimension.
Good Lord, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, but it looks like a really good game. I mean, by the people who brought you by the father of Final Fantasy, Hironobu Sakaguchi, and renowned composer Nobu Uematsu, the man who made Final Fantasy music. They're coming together to make a new franchise for Square Enix. That's the AAA I want. Bring back the real guys. Yeah, so that's something I'm looking forward to right there. It's coming out in December. So I might get it next year because I don't think I'm going to get the price drops I want for the holiday season. But that's the kind of stuff I'm looking at. And then, of course, occasionally something here and there. But the creativity and ingenuity just isn't there anymore. And Ubisoft is the current poster child of failure when it comes to that stuff. I mean, how people beg you for a decade, give me Assassin's Creed in Japan. And this is what you get with Shadows.
Someone beats you to the punch, and then you fuck it up when you follow up.
Yeah, and then they fuck it up themselves with Yote. Go one step farther, apparently. That thing has a lot of possible problems. We'll find out when that happens.
I'll just be happy playing Tsushima. Pretend it's Assassin's Creed game. The last Assassin's Creed game is Odyssey, and that I'm happy living that life.
Either way, I think gaming will be fine. Game is going to be fine. The DEI woke agenda will be literally burned out. And we're coming up to a new era that I think we're going to have a lot of fun with. I think it's going to be there. But we got a couple more years before that happens. But there will be gems here and there either way. All right, last topic of the day. So last week I said I was going to watch and review Dune Prophecy. As I said at the beginning of the stream, as shit as I said and knew it would be. Now, I said I was going to read a book before it. Turns out, didn't matter. Because not only was that book, its sequel, and the third one, the entire Schools of Dune trilogy, that's not this series. This series takes place 30 years after all those events, and they only reference them for a couple of minutes, and they actually butcher the scenes, all to change narratives and characters that are horrible and this and that to make them look sympathetic. Won't go into it. You want to see it, go watch the review. I spent like 20 minutes breaking down how it was all wrong. Point is, they had lore. And I know that's a question I'll get in a second, but they had solid lore that they could have worked with, and they chose not to. And then they chose to run off with the fan fiction land and create a show that is not only boring, poorly written, a waste of a great actor like Mark Strong, completely wasted, and a bunch of Game of Thrones-esque, let's throw in a lot of sexy people who can't act and have no presence whatsoever on a screen. Not to mention there's a lot of inconsistencies with how the world of Dune works thrown into all of this. So I went in on my review. If you want to see Angry Adam, that's a review to watch. I am pissed off for 40 plus minutes when I do that. I didn't get the reception I thought I would. Now, listen. I am almost 4 years at this game now. I know that there's levels of the kind of reaction I'm going to get. There's going to be, you find people who love what I do. Even if you disagree with me, you love what I do. You roast me, you give me shit, or you agree with me. Either way, we have our relationship, and I do what I do for you. Then you got the people who will stroll in and say, you're kind of right, but you're kind of wrong. I'm not going to subscribe to you, but I'll leave a comment and yammer at you, but I'm not here to pick a fight, which I got a couple of those. And I treated them with respect because they treated me with respect. And then you got the stands. I had one person come in and say, it's a show called Sisterhood. What do you expect it's going to be like? That sounds like you want the one with the machines in it. And I said, well, yeah, I wanted that one because that's a real story. And two, it didn't have to be called Sisterhood because it's bullshit. Because it's not really about sisterhood. It's about what retardation. I replied, eventually said, I'll go screw your sister and your mama, the way I usually do like that. It's how I make them feel uncomfortable and go away. It's because they can't handle a real conflict. But then there's the other ones that come in. And let's be honest, I have not had a whole lot of experience with Dune fans on the internet because I talk about it on stream with Samuel a lot because he likes Dune too. I've talked about this stuff, but I do it on stream. I don't make dedicated videos because I don't really want to deal with that fan base. I'm not here to get to know them. I'm here to talk to them because I know that there's a part of them that are Frank Herbert only. They're Frank Herbert only, and they say anything after Chapter House is fan fiction. Like I said, I had somebody come in the comments that said anything after Herbert is all fan fiction. And I said, well, that's too bad. I'm sorry you feel that way because this stuff is really good. And he said, well, I read it. I just don't like it. And I said, okay, fair enough. We agree to disagree. It was a quick exchange. Everybody walked away. If he's somebody like that, there's nothing I can say with what went on in the final 2 books of the mainline series and anything that's expansion-wise, there's nothing I can say that's going to convince that person, because they are a belief that what Brian, and now I expand not to that guy, but to those who will say this, they believe that what Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson did, whether or not it was using Frank's notes or not, or his intentions, they believe that it loses the message of everything Frank did with Dune, and that it's a butchery, it's horrible, it's this and that, and it's terrible, and how dare you acknowledge it as Dune. Now, one would say, Adam, don't you always say that the EU is Star Wars, but that George didn't write that? How can you say that? Well, when I'm arguing with them, and I think I said that wrong just now, so allow me to correct myself. I think I said my word. I think I said my statements out of order there. I apologize. My thought process was out of order. I will say to them, it's still real, even though Frank didn't make it. I've left that part out. That's what I want to say. It's still real, even though Frank didn't make it, because his son, the next best thing, took his intentions, his notes, and went with it, and got a quality writer in Kevin J. Anderson to go forward with it. And then I would say, people would say to me probably, Adam, how can you say that when George Lucas didn't write the EU? You know what I'm trying to say? I think I'm butchering my words there.
Yeah.
No, I think you are being consistent with that, though. And another great example of a son taking over that people love is Christopher Tolkien.
Yes.
Tolkien helped put out a lot of the Lord of the Rings books besides the mainline ones like the Silmarillion and Finished Tales and the 20 other ones that came out, because he followed his father's notes and what his father had written. And that's still legitimate. Of course, every fan will have their opinion of what's good and what's not. But because you're talking about a show that marketed itself as adapting these books, which is an outright lie, you have a right to bring those into this discussion. It doesn't matter if you said they were good or not. I don't even think you said one. I was
liking it. I mean, the first one was good, and then I got it. You know, Amazon's been pressuring me for years to get a free Audible. So here, join Audible, give your free book. Well, I didn't have the second one on hand, and when I realized very quickly that there was material in the second one relevant, I got the free Audible. Of Mentats at Dune. So I listened to it at very high speed. Jed would love me. You'd love me for doing that. Super high speed until I found the segment that I needed for the scene. And I got my information that I needed. And I don't even bother with the third one because they don't even touch on the events of the third one in this show. They don't even go anywhere near Navigators of Dune. Point is, like you said, though, it is extra content. And I felt legitimately saying, since I like what Brian Herbert and Brian and Kevin have done, I like what they did. I don't like living in limbo after Chapter House. I don't like thinking that it just ends there because Frank didn't write it. And I think now I can properly say, when I say the EU works, even though George didn't write it, George was still involved, which was the next best thing for that. And like you said, with a Christopher Tolkien situation or a Brian Herbert situation, the son who wants to do right by his father's legacy, at least I see it, and uses their information to carry on, that's legitimate to me. It's the next best thing you're going to get. And this, what prophecy is, it's nobody involved with the Herbert estate. I think Brian signed off on it for money, because at this point that it's going to get money. He just like he signed off on Denny and his bullshit.
Oh God,
he signed off on that money. What they have done with this is true fan fiction. They're not actually utilizing what some people even call fan fiction. They are making shit up at this point. They changed characters. They changed events. They've added shit that didn't happen and nothing made sense. So when I get to that point and I make that argument, I know I'm a little jumbled in this because I've been trying to work out how to present this for days, and it's still not even clear how I'm trying to accurately present my position. So let me go to this point then and try to save myself here. I'm great at what I do, aren't I?
Fantastic.
I'm the best ever. You've got people like me who are okay with what Brian Herbert did. You've got people who are only Frank supporters, but if they disagree with you, they're not going to harp on you. Then you have the stands who are here for completely different reasons. But then there's a segment of Dune fan base who are Frank Herbert diehards who hate it, like you just said, Jed, who hate it that you like Brian Herbert and what he did and want to use it. There was a comment said, this thing has Brian's stench all over it. And it's okay. So you're going to attack the show, but it doesn't even have Brian stuff along. So that person didn't even read it to make a proper commentary because it doesn't even have Brian's work in it. They butchered Brian and Kevin's work to make it. So my point now is this for this discussion here, and I'm sorry I took so long to get there. When you have people in a fan base that say, I hate you for liking this, or I hate you for even trying to question something like that, because we can even go back to Wheel of Time when people came at me for questioning what they're doing in the show. Are they no better than stans when they take a step too far and try and yell at you for liking something? In that sense, trying to use the content of one thing to defend the other thing, and they say you can't use that because that was garbage. But I will make the case, as I said, that the son using his father's notes and intentions is the best you're going to get. So to me, that's legitimate. Am I reaching here, or is there something there?
Well, I think anyone can behave Stan-like regardless of what they're trying to argue for. I mean, as we do all the time, we don't really attack people personally when they like something, as long as they're being legitimate about it. It's like, yeah, I like this. These are my reasons. If you're a polite person, we're going to be polite with you.
Yeah.
And I might be baffled by why you would like one movie or another and vehemently disagree with you and think you're wrong, but we're not going to go, oh, you're wrong. You're like, we're not going to behave like these people. And I think it's more about behavior than context of what they're saying. The argument that they're making is almost irrelevant when you start behaving in that immature fashion. Like, you're not making the point of your video and bringing in Brian Herbert's work wasn't to legitimize it. You weren't talking about why it should be compared to Frank's work or anything like that. You're just saying, hey, this show said it was based off of this material. Well, it failed.
This is the lore as it stands, and they changed it,
which is a completely legitimate thing to bring into the discussion. And so the fact that they're like, hey, I agree with you that the show's garbage, but you're a bad person for even bringing up Brian Herbert's stuff is just a bizarre way of going about it.
It's very strange, isn't it?
You agree you agree that the show is bad, that it bastardizes Dune lore, but the fact that you didn't come out and decry the existence of Brian's work is very immature behavior. Very immature.
I got a lot of people coming at me about that. It's like, oh, how can you talk about this? Why are you even acknowledging Brian Herbert's stuff? It shouldn't even exist. It's not real. Now, if you want to believe that, fine. But I don't understand, as I said before, I don't understand this willingness to just let the story end at Chapter House on a cliffhanger. I don't understand it when, as far as all my research ever showed me, Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson used Frank's notes and intentions to finish the story with the last two books of the main line. And is it perfectly Frank? Probably not. Of course not. But in this world, I'm happy that we got it.
Yeah. I think it's legitimate to have opinion one way or another about the way someone finishes a franchise. Like, I'm sure people with Wheel of Time who don't like the Brandon Sanderson books, and I don't think that's wrong necessarily.
It's majority accepted, though.
Majority accepted.
Yeah,
but to come at you for saying that you're wrong for liking it is immature behavior, and I think that's the bigger problem. Than you can have a great fan discussion with people about the legitimacy of different additions to a franchise, and if these people were respectful, and you're just like, hey, I really like it because it followed his notes here and it gave me closure to Chapter House. And they're like, well, Frank didn't write it. You're a bad person for even giving it the light of day. That's not a mature discussion, but you could have a great fan argument where you have these discussions, be like, hey, I think Frank would have done it differently here. And it could be an interesting point of discussion, but they're not interested in discussion. They're not interested in loving this franchise and having these great debates. They're interested in calling you names and acting immature. This is the same behavior. You're 100% correct. When we say, hey, we don't like this Marvel Disney Plus TV series. Oh, you're a bad person. You must hate these types of people. It's the same thing, just with different context. So I think the context is irrelevant when you're acting immature. It's the behavior that makes a stand, not the content of the argument that makes a stand.
That's well put. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because I've been struggling all week since my review came out, it didn't immediately get traction, but then as the week went on, it picked up a little steam, and suddenly my comments were flooded with people attacking me for using Brian Herbert's lore as the foundation of my argument. And what am I supposed to do? That's the lore that's there. And it's literally coming from both sides, both stands and supposed Dune fans. So that's why I brought this up, why I was so confused. What am I supposed to do? Now this is not going to stop me. I'm going to keep reviewing. This doesn't stop me. I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to be referring less and less to the lore, because now outside of that first episode, there's no lore to reference to anymore. Now we're in fanfiction land. I'm probably just going to be ranting and raving about crap that we're going to see in the bad performances. I don't want to be angry when I do these things, Dre. You don't review things generally the way I do. You do a more lighthearted reviewing stuff. You don't do it like you don't do the in-depth long form, but you still do it to get the truth at it. And I do it to rip it apart.
Yeah.
And when it's bad. And when I do this, I do it because I have a connection to something.
Sure.
And it comes through with my passion. And how often do you get called angry bro or angry guy? This is the first one. Someone who says to me, "This guy's trying to be critical drinker and failed." To which I replied, "No, I'm just being me." And also, this shows you, do you even watch a Drinker video? Drinker doesn't go on camera when he does reviews. And his reviews are like 10 minutes or less.
Mm-hmm.
Drinker doesn't do long form. Drinker saves long form for streaming when he has a panel.
Yeah.
But how does that... What I want to ask you, Dre, is...
Sure.
Do they misconstrue passion for hatred and anger?
Sure, absolutely, 110%. Usually I get it from, the crazy lefties or whatever, but because, a lot of them just, I don't know, sniff their own farts and inject bleach into their arms. So a lot of them aren't mentally well. But what I can take from that is, as long as what they're saying has merit, I can take it as constructive criticism. But if they're just coming from a point of, as Jed mentioned earlier, just immaturity, then I know it's just flapping gums. And what Jed said was pretty much perfect. It doesn't matter what point you're trying to make. If you're doing it immaturely, you're just a moron. So even if individuals that claim to why'd you follow this particular person's lore or whatever the case may be, if there's lore to follow. That's the point. That's the whole point of making references to material, because that material predates what you're watching now. Now, whether somebody disagrees with it, that's their prerogative. That's fine. To be like, oh, I don't like the way this particular writer went this particular direction, and I don't like the fact that you use this. That's fine. That's an opinion. But to then twist it in a way of saying, oh, since you use this person's material, you must be fill in the blank or whatever. Like, no, that's all nonsense. Now, granted, luckily for me, I'm not into Dune. But I know that it has a very, what's a good word, a feral fan base.
Rabid.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, rabid. Perfect. Yeah, kind of fan base because of how well a lot of people feel like it's been butchered several times, and like maybe the sci-fi version was actually really good, but everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
But I think every opinion that has to come across, it has to come off with some dignity or respect. If somebody's just whining and crying, you're a stan. It doesn't matter if it is for woke ideology or if you're just crying because somebody's using something you don't like. Either way, I don't think it's appropriate. So if you're using the lore and you're making your points based off of the lore that is, I would assume, canonized in Dune, I don't see what the problem is. I don't see why there'll be vitriol outside of crybabies.
Because they're, as I said, they're the diehards, they're the real traditionalist faction of the Dune fan base. They reject everything Brian Herbert.
Okay.
They reject everything. Because I said at one point, 20 plus books. Somebody says, what are you talking about, 20 plus books? There's only 6. It's like, but Okay.
Now, okay, now here's the flip, Adam. Here's the flip. This is where I'll throw the volleyball back to you there. All right, is that is something that you would say?
I know it. And that's my point. People would say, Adam, you're a hypocrite, but the difference is, to use Star Wars, everything that came out with the EU from 1977 to 2012, George was involved with in some way, so it has his stamp of legitimacy. Everything after 2012, zero George involvement, therefore illegitimate. Everything made post Frank's death with Dune. Brian Herbert, his son, working with, as is believed, his notes and conversations and intentions, took it farther for another 20, for another 16, 17 books, both dealing with the history and then side events while the main storyline was going on.
Gotcha.
To me, that is the same. It's the next best thing, as I said to Jed, of the creator, his son, who has the best intentions going forward with it. Same thing as Jed brought up, Christopher Tolkien carrying on J.R.R. Tolkien's work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know that. Well, and if you go outside of that without a father and son, we brought it up, Wheel of Time, yes, Robert Jordan died, left it unfinished, but he worked with his wife and Brandon Sanderson. Well, he worked with his wife, and his wife chose Brandon Sanderson. But Robert Jordan, to his dying moment, made sure that everything was, the roadmap was there to be followed. And his wife chose Brandon Sanderson as the best possible person to carry it on. That's the next best thing, where you have people who are involved, like a wife, and then a solid author like Brandon Sanderson to then finish it based upon the events. That's what I'm talking about.
You're talking about line of succession.
That's a great way to put it. There's a very clear line of succession. And that's why I don't think I'm a hypocrite for liking that, Brian Herbert. And when people will say, but Adam, you complain about doing this and that, you said there's only 6 Star Wars movies. But when people say there's only 6 Dune books, you can say that, but as you just said, I see a clear line of succession that was done out of good faith. And you may not like it, but it's different from saying, when I say Disney Star Wars is not Star Wars, because there's a clear line of demarcation.
Absolutely. I was about to say the exact same word. Absolute line of demarcation. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. I don't think I'm being a hypocrite by taking this stance. When I reply to somebody says, when I criticize somebody yelling at me, there's only 6 books in Dune, or 9 or 7. Yeah, 6 books in Dune. I don't feel like I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah, that's fair, because what you're talking about is a line of succession, and where Star Wars is a grave robbing, essentially. It's grave robbing, and you're taking something and then butchering lore that came before with Disney Star Wars. You're butchering lore that's already been established. Now, once again, I'm not an expert on Dune on any level, but from what I understand is that these books are a continuation of a story that was already established, and that is just building off of a story that was before.
The final 2 books just tie up all the loose ends.
Okay.
And finish the story. There is a clear ending. There is nothing beyond Sandworms of Dune. Everything else that came out afterward, it's all historical shit. It's the Butlerian Jihad, the war against the machines. It's the building of a lot of things. It's some side adventures that would happen with other characters that went on in the periphery during the mainline saga, during different parts of the timeline. That's the rest of this thing. But when it ended with the 2 books. It's over. There's nothing past that. It's not like, it's not as though Brian tried to then make new stories beyond the ending that Frank envisioned.
Gotcha. Meander or make up his own shit or start his own storylines like the sequels.
Yeah.
Then as far as I'm concerned, what you're saying is legitimate.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
I don't know how good the other 15 odd books are that Brian did. I liked Hunters. I liked Sandworms. It finished the story. I was fine. I one day I should fully finish reading the Butlerian Jihad, because that is a fascinating story. The war against the machines, the original stuff. That's the history, and that's cool. But everything else, I never would have touched the Schools of Dune trilogy if not for the show, because I didn't really care. All I care about is it tells you what happened in the history, and I just need to know what happened. I didn't need the details, so to speak. But I did, because I did it now, because I was trying to be prepared for a show that I thought was going to be showing us that content in live action, but in fact it didn't, not at all. It's complete fantasy. So, what I want to say is, you can criticize me all you want. I'm a big boy. I put on my big boy pants today and my socks and my shoes. I can go out and take it. What I want is as everybody said here, if you're gonna come at me either with respect, where we can have a civil conversation. Come at me with it if you want to have a nerd debate. Let's have a nerd debate. We'll yell and scream like Dermia and I did on AMAs. There was blood sport on Thursday. There was screaming, a lot of yelling. Or, oh no, that's it. Come at like that, but don't come at me and try and tear me down for using the assets at hand. And Stans, you can go after yourselves. You don't even register me. I wait for you to come in so I can dunk on you after your pathetic attempts to dunk on me.
Ooh, dunking.
Dunk. Ham slam. I take the ham slam. I'll take that ball. The ham slam, which used to call Marvin Ham the ham slam, which that was his dunk.
I remember.
I know you get that. You get that. You're old like me. You love the game. I was at the ham slam. Whenever it wasn't known for when he did it. It was the ham slam, and I loved it.
It was a ham slam. That's true.
It was a ham slam, and I ate it up. But yeah, so, come at me legitimately, and I just don't try to bullshit me, and don't try to say, "Bro, why so angry, bro? It's just a show." Shut the fuck up. You didn't have to come watch my review and leave a comment. You didn't have to, but you did. So don't cry about it if you didn't like what I say. If my content's not for you, hit the dislike button and leave. But if you're triggered enough to come cry at me, I mean, there were Spurgers in the beginning, real Spurgers, trying to say, oh, it's my favorite one that I dunked on earlier, saying, you just don't like it because it doesn't conform to the story you wanted to see. You're just angry about that. Like Jid said, I thought I was going to get a story based on these books, but it's not. It actually says, and I showed the screen cap in the review, based upon Sisterhood of Dune.
Yeah, that's false marketing. That is lying.
It's not based on it at all. They have 2 scenes in it from Sisterhood of Dune, and they butchered it. They changed it to change the characters to make Valia Harkonnen look sympathetic. Oh, we're back to the sympathetic villain shit again.
Of course, you have to. But yeah, it's okay for you to be upset when you find out that they're lying to you, acting like you pretended, like in your head came up with this false notion that it was supposed to be about this random thing. No, they stayed upset. Hey, this is about the Sisterhood of Dune. This is an adaptation of the Sisterhood of Dune. Then you watch it. It takes place after the Sisterhood of Dune and has nothing in common with the Sisterhood of Dune. You have a right to go, yo, what the hell? You lied to me.
Yeah,
it's not complicated.
That dude said the same thing. It's just an adaptation. It's an adaptation. Don't you
It's
love
not.
that argument?
It's not an adaptation, though.
But even that argument always falls flat because nothing that we've been criticizing for years are adaptations. They take a couple of points and then they run off in the wilderness. All right, anybody want to say anything else on this?
No, just that I can have a lot of sympathy for this because I'm not a Dune fan either, just like Dre, but I see a lot of this with the Doctor Who fandom when it comes to the demarcation between old and new Who. There's a lot of people who like new Who is always irrelevant. It was never good. You can't talk about it because it's different than classic Who, and who have Stan-like behavior that I have to deal with occasionally. Most people are legitimate and like have an argument with me and say why they prefer classic Who. Whatnot, those are fine. But the type of people who are very much set in their ways when it comes to this and act like you're a bad person for having a different opinion, that's always going to be immature behavior no matter what the context of your argument is. The behavior is what makes a stand, not the context of their argument. So
yeah.
Anything else? Because then we're going to close it up. Okay. All right. Real quick, I have no idea what you're talking about, Legatus.
Well, it's like the Winnie the Pooh horror movie. There's a new one where Popeye the Sailor Man is Popeye the Slayer Man.
Sure.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Sure.
I don't care about these. I'm not going to watch them, but I don't think they're wrong. Like, there are some people who say these movies are legitimately evil. The fact that they're doing them. And I think that's bizarre. They're not. It's not your job. They're not the owners of this.
It's essentially parody.
Yeah, it's just parody. I don't think there's anything wrong with horror parody of this. Yeah. But and it's not like they own Winnie the Pooh or have. It's not like we haven't got good Winnie the Pooh or whatever, or Popeye. That that argument is just wild. Like I saw someone make the argument that the Winnie the Pooh stuff was a sign of our failing society. Like it was morally
it's just
reprehensible.
A stupid movie. God damn. All right. I'm done. We're done. Let's end it. And let's go on Thanksgiving break. We will not be back next week. We're taking the week off. We'll be back in December with fresh stuff. But either way, Jake, you got anything going on this week?
You can all find me YouTube and Kick at Hollywood Scholar. Not really a whole lot going this week because of the holiday and whatnot, but we'll be back with Drive-In the week after, and Adam will get more into that.
Oh boy, will I ever. Dre, you taking the week off?
No. Thursday still got another Pokemon battle on the Brute Plays channel, and it is going to be pretty darn epic. So definitely check that out. That will be on Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If anything pops off in regular news, then yeah, I'll be on the Brutal Planet Comics YouTube channel. If something worth reporting. Let's see what else. Oh, right. So Trouble Rise of the Children, the script is finally complete. So I am very happy about that. We will be starting production officially in January, so I'm very, very excited. There'll be some updates on the channel about that coming in the next few weeks. So definitely stay tuned to that, or I'll be posting them on X Twitter at TheBrood00. So stay tuned to all that great stuff. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Dragon Lady, it's not a holiday for you, but what are you doing?
Well, I will be simming, so you can catch me simming, I suppose.
Okay. Now, just because we're not doing drive-in or roundtable next weekend doesn't mean that my week is not busy. Now, I'm taking tonight off. I'm done for the day because I got to regulate myself for what's coming this week. Tomorrow, regular stream, Mellow Mondays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We are going to take a moment and reflect on that little bit of Star Trek thing that happened this week, the unification video. Did you see that one, Jed?
I haven't seen it yet. I've seen people's reactions to it.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It hits you in the feels.
Does it repair some of the damage from Generations?
It depends how you interpret it. We're gonna go over it tomorrow night on Mellow Mondays. I'm gonna get Samuel's take on it because I'm sure he's watched it by now. Listen, hit me in the feels. If it really does happen there, if it is connected to Picard season 3 and what you see there, then hey, cool beans, man. Cool beans. It did see the feels. They did some interesting work in that. We'll talk about that tomorrow night, among other things. Might not be a long show tonight because I am long show tomorrow night because aside from Dune Prophecy review episode 2 tomorrow, stay tuned for that. Probably Angry Adam all over again. I'm going to try to burn through that as quickly as possible. I'm not going to try and draw it out. We'll expect that tomorrow afternoon alongside Mellow Mondays. But I am taking easy because I'm regulating my sleep pattern, my sleep schedule, because Wednesday at noon, 24-hour stream. Wednesday into Thanksgiving. Thursday, noon to noon. We're going to have some fun. I hope there'll be video games played, regular discussions, articles, stuff like that. The invitations will be spread far and wide, so a lot of people will hopefully be coming and going throughout the day to help me stay awake. I don't think I'll have much of a problem. I'm pretty good at staying awake. I don't tend to fall asleep in my chair or anything like that. I tend to manage my sleep pretty well with little or most of it I get. So it should be a lot of fun. I hope everybody can join me for that. And then for the rest of the weekend, there is Ball Busters this week. I forget who the guest is. Dermy mentioned it, but went out of my head. We'll be regular Ball Busters. And then next weekend, we're taking the weekend off, as I said. No drive-in, no roundtable. But we'll be back in December. When we come back for drive-in, it will be the classic, The Lion in Winter, starring Sir Peter O'Toole and Katharine Hepburn, and also a very young Sir Anthony Hopkins. So that'll be that when we come back. That and then other stuff. Other stuff is happening. By the time we come back, Skeleton Crew will be out. Yay!
It's your Christmas present.
Yeah, that was coming up.
Oh baby. So by the time we'll likely be talking Skeleton Crew reception and the stand, the retardation when we come back for that. But until then, just thank you everybody. Thank you for being here as always on this Sunday afternoon. Hit those like buttons, subscribe to the channels, leave comments, talk about it, and we'll see you guys around. We hope you had a good day. And as I said, if you want to catch that Among Us stream from yesterday, it is live now on my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade. You can sit down and watch me be a damn good imposter for the most part. That was a pretty good lesson. I'm proud of myself. Anyway. All right, guys. Take it easy. Have a good night wherever you may be. And we'll see you after Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Good night. Wow, there's a big delay there. Jeez. Wow.